win one game, and we've seen it with Jimmer Fredette, Adam Morris, that I remember, Dougie McBuckets when he was playing for Creighton. Yeah, so I think didn't even Trae Young win one, if I'm not mistaken. So from that perspective, you have to pick one of the best players in the nation to at least win one game. So we'll see coming up here against Florida State. Now, obviously, Racer Nation's flying high. I think we want some more, though. We'll see what Florida State has to offer.
All seriousness, here's why I picked against Murray State. Twofold, okay?
Mm-hmm.
One is I thought everybody was going to pick them. And so you're trying to win a bracket.
I feel like they
right?
did kind of. I mean, they were a very popular pick.
Everybody.
Yeah.
And so, I was the dummy. Everybody picked Belmont, too, and I picked Maryland, so that one worked.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people picked Belmont. And a lot of people I'm trying to win a bracket here, man. I mean, I just
it's all about the money.
So I got to, all right, are we hyping Murray State a little bit too much? I watched that game. I watched a couple of the games last weekend in the conference tournament, and as impressed I was with Ja Morant, I wasn't as impressed with their basketball team at times. And what I thought Marquette would do is I thought they would just either let him try to score the old Bobby Knight theory where you just let guys score like 40 and you shut everybody else down because the guy's not going to score 70 in the game to beat you, or they would just be able to clamp down and the other guys wouldn't be able to step up. So that was what I was thinking with Marquette. And just didn't material. I mean, they crushed him. Ja Morant stole the show.
Marquette tried to clamp down and just didn't. They weren't successful.
He's so good, and he really is good. And it had little to do. My theory had little to do with Ja Morant. And I know he's a sensational player. I watched him play. He's talented, really good. And I love the fact that he stays alive. I don't really care about my bracket. I love the fact that he stays alive and continues on. Florida State stays alive. We'll hear from Leonard Hamilton in a bit. It's a really interesting situation with Florida State because they are very good, and now they deal with an emotional aspect of this basketball tournament where you never really you want to be in any time of year, any walk of life. But Phil Cofer is a tremendous player, already banged up. They've got injuries on Florida State. That should concern Noles fans. They have legit injuries, guys that are hurting. And how much will that impact them against Murray State and potentially moving forward? But Phil Cofer loses his dad. I don't know if it was shortly after the game, but the timing of it, but it was on Thursday, and he was already missing the game. And it looks like he may miss tomorrow's game as well. So Phil Cofer, I think, is arguably their best player. He can really be a game changer. So how much from an emotional and physical standpoint, just from a schematic standpoint, but really the emotional standpoint, does Phil Cofer in this whole ordeal either hurt or maybe inspire and motivate a little bit Florida State? It's going to be a fascinating watch tomorrow evening because there's a lot going on right now in the Florida State basketball program.
For sure. I mean, obviously, I'm pulling for Murray State all day, and I'm sure I'll be talking some smack about Florida State. But from that perspective, where the dude loses his father, I mean, that's a tragedy, So you hate to see that in any sport and everything like that. So obviously sending positive vibes out to him, man. It'll be interesting to see. I mean, have they announced he's not going to be there for sure? Is that what they're saying?
Well, I saw something from Leonard Hamilton says he's with the team, but he likely will not play because he's banged up too. I mean,
exactly.
Leonard Hamilton, we played, I thought Leonard Hamilton might have been covering the personal news for Cofer with the injury news that he talked about yesterday on our program, after that game and after their win, what we ran. And I was like, okay, he must be covering because of it's a personal nature story, and maybe they didn't want to get out at the time and talk about it on the podium. I understand that. But, no, there's some injury stuff with Phil Cofer going on, too. So I think the balance of the two, he is still with the team. That was the latest word as of today. Leonard Hamilton really just talked within the last hour. We'll hear from him about facing Ja Morant and about Florida State as they continue on. Again, a very talented team in Florida State. I think they can make a lot of noise in this tournament, but I wonder how tomorrow their basketball team will be impacted emotionally and the physical toll of having some guys out. We'll talk more about that coming up. A great win for the Florida Gators. Fantastic win for Florida. Listen, this is a Florida team, and, Mike White took some heat a little bit at times during the course of the year. Mike White's a fantastic coach. I've always said it. I like this guy. I think he's really good. A couple years in, he had him in the Elite Eight, and he gets after these. I just like everything about Mike White. I think it's a fantastic replacement to Billy Donovan. That's a tough deal now. How do you replace Billy Donovan at Florida, where they're not really known for basketball? The only reason they're known for basketball really is because of Billy Donovan. And so once he left, how would you replace him? I think they've done a phenomenal job with Mike White. And White has these guys playing so hard and so good defensively that it covers up the warts they have on offense. You never know what they're going to do from a scoring standpoint offensively, and they had it cooking for the most of that game, and then they went on one of their epic droughts, which is what they do. Yeah. They got stuck, I think.
You're listening to ESPN 690, a remote broadcast from Intuition Aleworks downtown. Looks like we may have lost Austin and Brent here for just a second. I'm trying to get them back, but if we cannot, we'll go to a quick commercial break and get them back online and get them going for the show again. Yeah, it looks like we are not going to be able to get them back. All right, we're going to go to a quick break. ESPN 690. We will be back in just a moment here. Thanks for hanging out with us. Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
What I continue to tell people about the entire experience is that it never felt like a sale. Not once did I feel like I was trying to be sold anything.
When people come to Diamonds Direct, they expect the highest quality, the lowest prices. But what they are surprised by is the experience, the relaxed, no-pressure atmosphere, and people who genuinely care.
At Diamonds Direct, it's just a different feel. As soon as you get here, you kind of feel comfortable with the process.
It's people that are pretty much family, honestly, at this point. I'm not even joking. They're so warm and welcoming.
They're very patient, they're very kind, and they're very, very helpful. They're very knowledgeable about their products.
Every single one of the people that touched our transaction made sure that we were ecstatic about it when we left. And we still have that relationship.
Very honest, very sincere, kind staff.
They just make you feel like family.
You feel like family here, no doubt about it. I will come back here.
We are Diamonds Direct customers for life.
Come discover the difference and be a part of our family at Diamonds Direct at the Markets at Town Center, official jeweler of the Jaguars.
Hey, everybody, this is Brent Martin of Action Sports Jackson. Many of you know by now I'm a huge advocate for Hyundai vehicles. We actually drive a Hyundai in our family, and if you're in the market for a new vehicle, take it from me. There's no better place to buy a new or pre-owned vehicle than Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville. The car buying experience should be smooth and seamless, and that's the experience you'll get from my friends at Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville. Take a look at their specials and incentives at JenkinsHyundaiofJacksonville.com. All you have to do is click the Specials tab, and you can find specials and incentives for new Hyundai vehicles. One thing you don't have to worry about at Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville is being haggled by a salesperson. Their sales staff are pros, and they're on your team from getting you into the car you want with the best possible financing plan. Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville is second to none. Schedule a test drive at JenkinsHyundaiofJacksonville.com or at the showroom on Atlantic Boulevard. And tell them Brent Martineau from Action Sports Jacks sent you.
You look at the way Paul George is playing, and you look at Russell Westbrook. I don't think anybody can deny Oklahoma City may be the biggest threat to the Golden State Warriors.
The Stephen A. Smith Show, weekdays from 1 to 3 p.m. on ESPN 690.
Now, back to Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
Hey, welcome back to Intuition Ale here on a Friday NCAA tournament. Tom watching some games. And as the bar area starts to fill up on a Friday afternoon here in downtown Jacksonville, and while some folks go home from the NCAA tournament, some folks stay. LSU, Maryland, and, of course, Kentucky Blue is all over Duval, and Wofford as well. They traveled well. What an exciting game that was last night. We'll talk more Florida Gators. Sorry we lost you for a second there here at Intuition Ale. Man, we waited through the day unscathed yesterday. I was thinking about that. I probably shouldn't have thought about it.
So that happens. You play those away games sometimes. But, hey, you know what? I say we go from here and we start playing gritty. We start digging deep, and we're going to be okay, bro.
Yeah, well, I'm not worried about it. We'll do it. We'll get it done. We'll check in on the brackets. And by the way, about the brackets, people, why do you all get so excited about being 14-2 or 15-1 or 13-3 or 16-0 even? It's not about the first round in the brackets. If you're playing a pool game, the first round doesn't matter. Well, it matters to a degree. Like, you don't want to be like me and lose Nevada all the way to the Elite Eight. But that's going to happen somewhere along the way. The bottom line is most of these bracket games, if you can hang around and have as many Elite Eight teams, as many Final Four teams, and then you almost all the time need to pick the overall champion. Yet we love to pump our chest out there and say, oh, I went 14-2 in the first round. Hey,
it's all about bragging.
We'll see where you finish.
It's all about bragging. I'm not sure why the NIT – was this the NIT? No, this is a – I'm sorry, that was the NIT
Colgate
game.
is not playing in the NIT.
Yeah, okay, never mind.
Okay. Don't disparage Tennessee fans like that.
It's Tennessee, my bad. Yeah, listen, so yesterday I only had 2 wrong. I was feeling high.
That's good, 14-2.
Yeah, I was walking good. I lost with Florida, obviously, and then I lost 3 yesterday. I lost with Baylor. I had Syracuse winning, and then obviously Belmont didn't come through for me with the OVC. The Belmont Bruins cost me as well. So I was sitting okay. I mean, not great, but it was all right. Well, this morning, and Brent, you know how, how obsessive I am over my bracket. I mean, I have a blue
highlighter out.
Well, yeah. I mean, so I always use a blue highlighter when I win, and I use a black marker if I lose, I exit out. So I'm pretty superstitious when it comes to filling out a bracket. Well, this morning I was getting my son ready for school, and he poured a glass of water by accident, knocked it over, and got the whole bracket wet.
Ooh.
Jinxed it. Since then, I haven't won any games today yet. Like seriously, like he put the whole family in jeopardy with that move. So obviously, I had to tell him to be careful and whatnot, and kind of reiterate, like, do you realize what you've just done? But hopefully we can get it going there because, I'm not off to a good start today.
So you're 0-2. You've lost Iowa.
Ole Miss, Cincy.
And Ole Miss. Ole Miss got hammered, but Cincinnati blew a big lead. They had a big lead a couple times in that game, double digits, and Iowa comes back and gets it done. I did have Iowa winning. But even to me, I'm like, man, I hope Iowa wins.
Yeah.
It's like a point in the bracket, man. It's like
true.
It's not that big a deal. Unless you have them going deep. Like I had Marquette in the Sweet 16 and Nevada going to the Elite Eight. That hurts. That hurts a little bit. But I just got to make it up somewhere else, and that's okay. I have lost on opening day before. I've lost 2 of my Final Four teams and 1.
Dang.
So I'm not scared. I'm not playing scared in the bracket. I've been here before, folks.
Walking through the storm.
I'm a veteran of the bracket, and hope you enjoy checking out the ESPN690.com bracket game that we've got going. Ended up with a bunch of people signing up. I think there's a leaderboard that showcases the top 100. Stuart Weber with a humble brag yesterday when he pointed out an attaboy for whoever was in the lead. There was one person, I think, that got all of them right.
Impressive.
Ended up with 32 points, 2 points per win. And then Stuart went 15-1. So congratulations to Stuart, off to a good start. But we'll see where he finishes.
A lot of time left.
To my point.
A lot of time.
We'll see where he finishes.
Yep.
Let's talk about the games yesterday real quick, touch on them before we get a little deeper into Florida State. We'll get you set for tomorrow's games and keep you updated on all the scores throughout the day, just like we did. Got some other topics, too, to get to. I thought it was pretty interesting. A tweet I saw just within the last hour. I think it brings up a very interesting topic about college football. And we will discuss, of course, we'll always have balling and falling, stay in your lane. And do we have a game today?
All the greatest hits. Ooh, we can get a game going too.
And we might play a little game as well.
Easy, Brent.
I might be, if you don't have one in your back pocket.
I may have some tricks up these sleeves, which I'm not wearing.
Then I might be able to bring one into play.
Okay.
As well as Intuition Ale continues to fill up. I was kind of wondering what would the scene be like at Intuition Ale.
Well,
it's a slow build throughout the afternoon, and I mean I got here about 2:30, and literally there was like not a lot of people here.
So
and
I was here
I
was here at 2:15 because I thought I could get some lunch. Obviously
really?
I was going to do that, and they don't open till like 3. The kitchen doesn't. So I came in here disappointed and had to leave and quick scramble to find something to eat, which I finally did. So it was all good. That's why I kind of cut it close today in terms of time frame.
Wow, so you were really early but almost late.
Exactly.
I've done that many a times. That's like the story of my life.
That's the story of lunch right there. It happens.
So hopefully you had a good lunch, and now everybody else can have some lunch here at Intuition Ale. So yesterday's games, we talked LSU. We talked Maryland. That Belmont game was a good one, by the way. I'm not going to say I was right, but I was right. Maryland, Belmont, and also Wofford and Seton Hall. 2 of the best games of the day. And I know if you look at the score of that Wofford game, it's like 16-point win. It was closer than that. It was a good basketball game for a long time. Seton Hall kept coming back, and then the big shots that Wofford would hit. Unbelievable. What a performance by McGee and the rest of those sharpshooters. It was real. The place was rocking last night. We stayed there until the end of that one, until about midnight, and the place was rocking. It wasn't the Kentucky game that got everybody on their feet. Everybody was wowed by McGee and Wofford. And, Wofford's one of those teams where you can get the whole building rooting for them. just because they're Wofford. Even though they're a 7 seed and they're probably favored in that game, and Seton Hall brought a better contingent than I thought they would. But Wofford, only a few hours up the road in South Carolina, traveled very well, sold out their allotment of tickets, and then they put on a show.
Gonna be honest, I fell asleep during that game a little bit because it was late. I was in dad mode, and it was late for me. But I actually woke up to see McGee. I think he hit like 2 or 3 threes, like kind of in a close span. So obviously, me being the analyst that I am, I had to do a little research on the guy and see where he's from. So the dude's from right down the road in Orlando.
Yeah.
So my question is,
somebody tweeted it today. I don't know who tweeted it, but I saw how did Florida State, UCF.
I was just going to ask
how did those teams let this guy go?
Because it ain't like he's like a short dude. He doesn't really seem athletic. And like maybe he just kind of grew in late, and they took a chance on him. This guy seems like a bona fide stud. So.
Well, and he can shoot. I don't care what you do, especially in college. NBA, you have a little problem, right? Jimmer Fredette, guys like that. Even J.J. Redick, people questioned him, but he's done a good job and obviously been fantastic. But Jimmer Fredette, by most people's view, can't hang in the league because he can't play defense.
I don't know. Steph Curry says what's going on too. You know what I'm saying? Like Steph Curry's kind of the same way as well. It's not like Steph Curry's defense is legit.
Yeah, but he does enough.
Okay.
I don't think he's it's not like a handicap on defense for the team. And you can't play defense in the NBA with 4 guys. I think that's why Jimmer Fredette can score the basketball. What I always wondered is even last year when Cleveland was in the finals again and LeBron's playing with nobody around and wide open shots and nobody can hit him for Cleveland. I'm like, why don't they just go sign Jimmer Fredette? Jimmer Fredette can shoot threes with his eyes closed. Jimmer Fredette's putting up like 80 points a game in China when he's playing. So to me, it's like the perfect guy. LeBron creates all this space, all these free shots, and you've got Jimmer in the corner. Now they got Kyle Korver.
I was going to say, speaking of Seton Hall, they had Kyle Korver. If I'm not mistaken, I think he went to Seton Hall. So they had Kyle Korver. I think he's a Seton Hall guy.
Is he really?
I'd put money on that. I can Google that quick. But
I feel like he's like a Midwest guy, like a Purdue guy.
I feel like Kyle Korver's a Seton Hall guy.
Or
but
even
I'll look
like
it up
a Georgia Tech guy. Seton Hall did not come to mind. I'm waiting for this answer. I want to know.
Oh, the pressure's on.
Been in the league forever.
Oh, man.
Creighton. Where?
Creighton
guy. Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Blue Jays. Creighton Blue Jays out of Nebraska. See, Midwest, Nebraska.
Okay. Blue and white jerseys. I was off, though. Okay.
Hey, well, actually, I got you.
Yeah.
You were kind of the visual of Seton Hall and Creighton not too far off.
Yeah.
All right. I'm here for you.
I appreciate it.
Wasn't too bad. I can't say much. I didn't know either. I kind of had forgotten. He's been in the league for so long. But, yeah, they had the Kyle Korver guy, right? Mm-hmm. But why couldn't you almost have 2 of those guys?
Exactly. If the NBA is a scoring league now and you're not playing defense, you might as well have as many scorers as possible, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So anyway, that was a lot of fun. Wofford put on a show. I think Kentucky has their hands full tomorrow. Again, this is partly because my bracket says so, but I have Wofford beating Kentucky. I think they are a legit team. They have a couple of big men that can hang around. They are not one of those teams. Like if you watched LSU yesterday play Yale, Yale was up against it because Yale just doesn't have the interior strength and length as LSU did. LSU looked like they were towering over Yale. That's just what happens sometimes in this tournament. Well, Wofford, you would think, might be the case. A lot of times these schools have some good guard play, can shoot the 3 a little bit, or all got like UNF kind of team, everybody can shoot the 3, but they really struggle on the interior. Not the case with Wofford, man. They can hold their own on the interior. They've got a couple of big men that can get it done, that can bang around. It's going to be interesting to watch Kentucky, and I want to see if McGee can get open against Kentucky. That, to me, will be the big test for him. But he can create a shot, and that's what it's all about. In college, you have to do it a little bit less, but in the NBA, it's all about creating your own shot, right? Getting open to be able to get enough space to create it. James Harden, look what he does, right? He creates enough space every single time, even though he's not the biggest guy, to be able to knock down the shots. Well, this guy can create, Fletcher McGee can create his shot. He can get open. I mean, Joe Lamp, who is really running this thing at the NCAA tournament for the Jacksonville area this week and doing a great job. I was actually talking to him around halftime or early second half back in the media room. And he said against UNF earlier in the year, and I didn't remember this, but UNF had played Wofford. And Fletcher McGee, they were down by 2, Wofford was. And Fletcher Magee peeled off and in one motion kind of just threw a shot up and got fouled, hit the shot, 4-point play, went from down 2 to up 2, bam, just like that. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm telling you, Austin, I went out there to watch the rest of the second half, and within 3 minutes, he peeled off to his left, which from a shooting standpoint, usually you want to peel off to the right. So you're kind of in rhythm. Mm-hmm. He peels off to his left, top of the key, hits the shot, gets fouled, 4-point play. It happened like 3 minutes later. And then if you remember the sequence, Wofford, if you watch that game, Wofford was up by 1. And the number 10, I don't know his name in front of me, but he does not get enough credit because McGee's so good. Yeah. He hit 2 threes in a row.
I think I remember seeing that part.
And And then the three-pointer, though, McGee hit, the dagger 3 right after that to get it to like 9 or 10 points. He was in the corner, and I still have no idea how he squared up his shoulders. I have no idea how he did it. I'm sitting in the end zone watching it all the way down the court, and he is like tucked in the corner, peels off. His feet are nowhere near facing the basket. They're facing like me down the end zone, and he somehow squared up his shoulders in time to lift and launch and nail a 3, and that one put the game away. I mean, it was a heck of a shot. I think that's the one that we're going to play hopefully a little bit. We're trying to find it, but Ian Eagle said, he is not human. Well, and it didn't look human.
It's it's really amazing just how far the game of basketball, especially in the NBA, has come with the ability to create your own shot, kind of like you mentioned with James Harden. I mean, granted, like you had guys like Larry Bird back in the day that might not have been the most athletic per se, and I'm not saying because he's white, but I mean that's the way his style was. But
no, he wasn't.
But nowadays, especially like James Harden, I think Dirk Nowitzki kind of started that trend again, where you don't have to be the guy that can drive to the hoop every single time like an MJ or someone that can throw down buckets all the time. Sometimes it's good to be savvy, it's good to be crafty, and that's kind of the way the style of basketball in college and the NBA is going now. So I feel like those players are always going to have a home for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and the difference there, like Larry Bird, his shot started at the top. So it's really hard to block it. Mm-hmm. A lot of shots, like if I shoot a jumper, I'm shooting it from my chest, my chin area.
Exactly.
Right? Get a little more oomph on it. Larry Bird's shot was just so effortless, and it was already above his head, which made it really, even if he can't jump over you, he's still already starting at a higher peak than you. And so that was, he was able to get the shot off all the time. Dirk Nowitzki you're talking about, he's obviously 7 feet tall, so that makes it a little different.
Makes it a little easier.
That's why if you can shoot out there, you can't contest it. I mean, what are you going to do about it? A guy that's 7 feet tall and
Kevin
can shoot
Durant,
the jumper like Durant,
good luck.
What do you do? I mean, you cannot defend that, and then you have to be ready for him to blow by you too.
Yeah.
So it is a different game, but the creating the shot, I think, it's always been the case. You always have had to create the shot, but I think we put an exclamation point on it when we saw Michael Jordan play.
Exactly.
Right? His ability to create some space, elevate, and then be able to knock it down. So NCAA tournament, I think, is off to a good start. Some people are like, oh, there were too many blowouts yesterday. I thought the games yesterday were pretty good. 2 of them in Jacksonville were fantastic. Even Yale LSU wasn't bad. Yeah, Kentucky was a blowout, but we kind of expected that. And there were some good ones from around the country. Syracuse, Baylor, very good. Auburn just survived. That one was really good. So I think we're off to a good start in the NCAA tournament. We'll catch you up on your brackets today if you're just driving around, haven't caught any of the action, and ready for a big weekend in Jacksonville, FLA. More to come from Intuition Ale. Come join us. Come say hello on Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690.
ESPN 690 Sports Center Update.
I'm Aaron, and I got to ask, how's that bracket looking? Because while a few of you are going to be starting from scratch, the Nosing Gators, they get to keep dancing.
Haven't got it into Cabendale much. Now they do. He's got 3 green jerseys around him. Fights through them and jams it through. Wow. Shows a lot of emotion after banging his way through.
For us to make that play, for me to make that play, inspired everyone. It got everybody going, and we executed really well in the second half.
Fiondu Kevin Galley on the mic right there. He leads the Noles with 21 points and 10 boards, including that flush you just heard. FSU winning a tight one against Vermont, 76-69. Florida State's going to face 12-seed Murray State next, tomorrow night at 6 p.m. And the Gators have their dancing shoes still firmly strapped to their feet. UF upsetting 7-seed Nevada, 70-61. Kavarius Hayes, the lead scorer for the Gators, 16 points, shooting 5 of 6 from the floor, doing all those people out in Live Oak proud. Don't miss a second of NCAA March Madness action. You can get the latest updates, including live scoring, at ESPN690.com.
It's time for another shout out to all the North Florida poker fans. This is Allie McNeil from both Best Bet Poker Rooms in Jacksonville and Orange Park. It's time for the May $30,000 guaranteed tournament in Orange Park with 4 Flights of Fury. Play March 22nd or the 23rd at noon or 7 o'clock p.m. With just a $200 buy-in and a forgiving structure, this is a tournament you won't want to miss. For more information, visit them on the web at bestbetjacks.com. Until next time, this is Allie saying, I hope to see you at the final table.
Hey, everybody, this is Brent Martineau. If you've received a letter from the IRS and can't pay them, things can get bad quickly. The IRS can seize your bank account, garnish your wages, and place liens against everything you own. If this is you, contact J. David Tax Law, a local firm right here in Jacksonville. Your first step to stop IRS harassment is a no-cost consultation. They explain exactly your options and how they will resolve your tax issue. Only highly experienced tax attorneys will represent you, and fee payment plans are affordable for everyone. Get the protection you deserve. Peace of mind is only a click or phone call away. The fastest way to get started is to call 904-507-4777. 904-507-4777. Or online at jdavidtaxlaw.com. The number again, 904-507-4777. Or online at jdavidtaxlaw.com.
The best kept secret in tires is TireOutlet.com. Tire Outlet offers you wholesale prices with premium service. And most important, TireOutlet.com has always had a safety-first focus. With locations throughout the First Coast, check out TireOutlet.com today.
Your lack of retention is a breathtaking thing that should be among the 7 wonders of the world.
I couldn't see the uniform through Devon's smoke.
The Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz. Weekdays from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. on ESPN 690.
You watch Action Sports Jax on CBS 47 and Fox 30. Now Action Sports Jax is on your radio.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Here's your host, Brent Martineau.
Bullseye! Fletcher McGee is not human!
That's Ian Eagle on the call from yesterday's Wofford game. Fletcher McGee is not human, and I tell you, and that was the shot in the corner I was just trying to explain to you. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. It was sensational, and to me, it's what the tournament is all about. It's Fletcher McGee. It's Ja Morant. It's actually a little bit less about Zion Williamson to me, at least my love affair with March Madness. Zion Williamson, we're going to watch for the next 12 years in the NBA, and we're going to see him for a long time. Ja Morant, we may watch for a long time, but we haven't watched. I mean, you could turn on the TV twice a week and see Zion Williamson, and he's awesome to watch. Don't get me wrong.
It's still impressive.
But it's great to watch. But there's always that guy. There's that guy at Kansas. There's that guy at North Carolina. And I know this. I say there's always that guy. This guy is different in terms of the last 20 or 30 years. He transcends it a little bit more. He's more excitable. So this is a little special year. But my point is, those Blue Bloods always have players that are really good, really fun to watch. But it's the McDermotts of the world that you learn about. It's the Butler kids that are now seniors that you learn about over the years. You know, it's the Fletcher
Adam
McGee's.
Morrison's.
It's the Adam. Well, even Gonzaga.
Legend.
Gonzaga's the best team that nobody talks about because they play so late at night and nobody knows. I mean, the kid from Gonzaga, might be right behind.
Yeah.
Right behind Zion Williamson, Ja Morant as the next best player in NCAA tournament.
No,
That's
sure.
one of the reasons I've got him going to the championship game and winning it. But that's why Gonzaga still is kind of that cute story at times. But the Woffords, the Fletcher McGee guy, is what this tournament is all about to me. The coach from Abilene Christian with his ripped pants and he only owns one suit, that's what this tournament is all about. We're going to learn more about somebody else who's going to be a hero today for a day or two. And that's the thing. It's 15 minutes of fame. It does not last very long for a lot of these teams. Ja Morant is unbelievable. But for the rest of that Murray State team, this thing likely isn't going 3 weeks in. You know, I mean, It could end this weekend. If not, it might end next Thursday. So I just love that part. I am a guy that I grew up in Rhode Island. So I love the Providence College 1987 story where they go to the Final Four. I loved when they would go to the Sweet 16. It would be a big deal. Rhody Rams, when they would make a little run, it would be if the Rhode Island Rams and the Providence Friars went to the tournament, that was already a big deal. If they won a game, it was a bigger deal, and it was fun. If they went to the Sweet 16, it was like, oh my gosh, they won the national championship, kind of a big deal. Same thing when I went to Albany, Siena and Albany, covering them, and they each went to tournaments during my time there. And now here, seeing UNF go. Like, to me, I'd rather see that than watch the Dukes and the North Carolinas and the Tennessees and the Auburns and the teams that everybody knows. And it's good basketball down the stretch, but that's what makes this Thursday and Friday and even tomorrow and Sunday way better to me than the rest of the tournament. It's just way better. And I know people feel differently about that. Listen, if I grew up on Tobacco Road in North Carolina, I would probably feel differently about that. But I love the mid-majors about college basketball. I love the Hoosier feel of this tournament. And I think we saw it front and center yesterday with Yale, a game effort, with Belmont, an unbelievable effort in that performance by Windler. My wife was still talking about Belmont today. I mean, she loved that game. She wanted Belmont to win and watch him play one more time, and then what Wofford did last night.
Well, and you talk about those special moments. I mean, Brent, I think we were talking about it yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. We were talking about the Georgia State players when the guy hit the game-winning shot. His dad was the coach. Dad ended up tearing his Achilles.
Yeah, Hunter.
Yeah, exactly. So, there's always special moments. Did you see the moment yesterday in that when it was Fairleigh Dickinson played, I think it was Gonzaga, right? They ended up playing? Yeah. I mean, look at the bracket.
Yeah, they got crushed by
Gonzaga.
But
did you see the special moment that happened in that game? So there's a kid and this is actually going to be one of my ball-ins, but I had somebody to pick from that. I just this one got bounced out. So it's a good time to bring it up right now. So there's a kid, senior by the name of Nadi Bakuri. Okay. And the cool thing with him, so obviously, I mean, Gonzaga was blowing him out the whole game, right? Literally didn't have a chance to win. Well, with about 3 minutes left, this kid goes in. He's a senior. And all of a sudden you see, and I saw the highlights of this, and you see, all of a sudden the team, all of a sudden the team kind of perks up a little bit, you know? I mean, they're getting beat by 20 or whatever. They're getting blown out. But all of a sudden the team starts perking up. They start cheering this guy on. And I guess what happened is that this guy was actually a starter, and he was a pretty good player and whatnot. He was a really solid contributor. Ended up having some serious back issues and had to sit out the whole season. So he ended up hurting himself in training camp or whatever in the preseason. Had to sit out the whole season. So coach put him in because I guess he's been feeling better with rehab and whatnot, and obviously it's his last game. So the coach put him in, and you can kind of see him hobbling around. He wasn't 100% by any means. You can kind of see him on the floor hobbling around. Well, what happens? He ends up getting the ball, and he's hobbling to the hoop and actually scores a layup and an and one. And what does he do when he scores that layup? The whole crowd, the whole team just goes crazy, and he runs up to his coach and gives him a giant bear hug and actually scoops him up during the game. So it's moments like that, for the fact that, and it's his teammates were all excited, they're jumping up and down, and they're getting beat, they're getting ready to go home pretty soon. But the fact that, they're supporting him that much for a senior leader who kind of just had some tough luck or whatever and just couldn't play the whole season, it's those moments that I especially like seeing when the whole team gets involved, when it's going to be over, but still you take something from it, you take that moment, and that's going to last into their lives forever. So pretty cool thing.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. It really is about that part. How about even the UNF band? Did you see that? Where Yale didn't bring a band, so UNF's band filled in, wore the Yale shirts. I'm still
a little bitter that Yale didn't call me up to come play baritone saxophone, but it is what it is.
Why didn't we do? We should have known in advance, and you would have been on their list, I'm sure.
Well, and then obviously, so when UK went out, I was watching that game a little bit, and where the media sitting is, it's literally right behind the band. So obviously, my first objective was to go check out that woodwind section, see if we had any saxophones in there. I think I saw an alto and a tenor, but did not see a baritone saxophone, so I couldn't ask the kid to play it, unfortunately, because it was definitely on my mind.
Kuz, by the way, was just bragging about his bracket. He was 8th in the ESPN690.com bracket challenge.
Thank God I wasn't here for that.
Kuz is not eligible, just so all of you know. He's not eligible to win the Rolling Stone tickets, the Meat Smoker prize packs that we have going for first, second, and third place. Had quite a few people sign up, and Kuz was happy. But it's like Kuz missed the top of the show where I said, why do people get excited about 14-2, 15-1? And
leave it to Kuz.
I mean, come on, man. Come on.
I'm just saying, man, I've already got the lead. I'm not excited. I'm just pointing out a fact.
Yeah, you have the best one on the show, but that dismisses, you basically saying Action Sports Jack Stuart Weber is not a part of the show at all.
No, well, that's what I said. Besides Weber, I think I'm in the lead.
Well, congratulations, Kuz. There's about 5 of us, and that's spreading the wings far.
Well, I mean 8th out of 100 and some people is pretty decent, I think.
Isn't it funny that you can give Kuz an assignment and it takes about 3 months for him to actually do it, but the fact that he's so up to date on his bracket and has time to go over it pretty much every game. it's a little baffling to me, to be quite honest. But
this is classic today. So here's our group text. Kuz does a nice job. He says,
whoa, that's
hey, do we have any audio we want to get? Like the Iron Eagle thing we just played. And I said maybe even a Ja Morant highlight, some Gators and Knowles. Maybe play a little bit of that during the show. And I added a couple other things in there. And he said, all right, I'll work on it. And said a couple other things. Austin jumps in. Sometimes very quiet on the
Oh, yeah.
text.
I mean, yeah, I'm not much of a texter.
Austin jumped in. He says, work on it. Code for, quote, yeah, I'll have it ready in late December for the 2019 recap show.
Trying to get that greatest hit show all set up.
Here's my question. Which one do you guys want? Do you want Austin?
Okay.
Do you want you here? Look.
ESPN 690 by day, kick ass at night.
I got all of them now.
Okay.
He's come up with some really big loose balls, and he just did it again.
See, that's my favorite. But here's the thing, though. So Brent sends us out these emails pretty much every single day, just kind of going over the show a little bit, some topics, some guests coming on and whatnot. Just kind of like a little rundown of the day for the show. And in every single rundown, literally probably for like the past 3 weeks, you would say, Brent, you've had it said where, can we get that audio from the Big Loose Ball segment? And I don't know if Kuz doesn't check his emails or what, but it's been 3 weeks, and I'm finally glad we got to hear it again. So
your side of the story, Kuz.
Yeah, go ahead.
What, for not having it in?
Yeah, you gave us a good reason recently.
Yeah, remember we got it, or I did grab it for you a few weeks ago, and then I had it on the computer and jumped off too quick, and when I jumped off, we lost it, so I had to go back and find it again today.
Hold up. And he didn't have my login.
We lost it, or you lost it?
And the login information was now it's saved, so we're golden.
Kuz,
the flight of beer right there.
Or I lost it, first of all.
We.
How is it we lost it?
Because it was during the show I X'd out. I forget why we needed me to X out.
Brent didn't go in there and exit out. I didn't go in there and exit it out. You exited out, sir.
Kuz,
you lost.
Kuz, you got him. I don't know whatever you texted Kuz, though, today, that thing that I just read, you got under him a little bit. You lit a fire.
So.
Maybe you
should
coach a little bit.
Yep.
Because he just had them all. He played them for us.
Headspace.
Love it.
Living rent-free in Kuz's headspace. I like it. Rent-free,
as long
baby.
as you don't come at me like Izzo did, then we'll be fine. Because if you come at me like that, I'll crumble.
Oh, yeah. Can we talk about Tom Izzo today a little bit, please?
We're going to do that. It's a big topic, really, today. I think,
which it shouldn't be, but okay.
All right, well, it's a big water cooler topic. It'll get us into a bigger picture thing as well. We're going to do that in the 4 o'clock hour. We've got Ballin' and Fallin' coming up next because you already kind of teased it, and we're going to get to it, and we've got so much to go. This, to me, actually, the NCAA tournament, this whole Ballin' and Fallin' segment, really that, by the way, Kuz came up with.
Yeah.
It's
been done before for someplace else.
The NCAA tournament is perfect for it. Who was the big star? Who was the guy that isn't or wasn't and should have won? This NCAA tournament is perfect for it. You want some scores? Check your bracket. Texas Tech beats Northern Kentucky 72-57. UC Irvine, the Anteaters. We saw a shirt out there.
Hey, Virginia.
Oh, no.
Were you going to show up today or not?
I'm going to get to it in a
minute.
I'm
sorry.
interrupting
it's crazy.
my update.
I'm sorry.
UC Irvine, the Anteaters up by 2 over Kansas State. That's going to go down to the wire. Good game. Tennessee up by 15 late in the first half. Gardner-Webb 26, Virginia 14. They were the first ones to ever lose as a 1 seed to a 16. Could it happen 2 years in a row?
Back?
Do you have to fire the coach if it happens?
You almost have to, right? That's embarrassing.
Oh, my gosh. Iowa beats Cincinnati 79-72. Oklahoma 95-72. We will keep an eye on that Virginia game. And the Anteaters against Kansas State looks like it's going right down to the wire. That will be a good one. We'll check your bracket all day long. We've got Ballin' and Fallin' next on ESPN 690.
It's Golic and Wingo.
Boston was a pit of misery outside of the Celtics for decades in terms of winning. Okay, you had the Celtics and you had everything else that was kind of a big bowl of crap. These sports fans in Boston, they really have no idea how good they have it, and I wonder what it's going to take for them to understand the embarrassment of riches that has come their way.
Golic and Wingo, weekday mornings at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPN2.
Peace of mind. It's one of the most important things we can have and sometimes the most elusive. I'm Eli Anajar from the law offices of Anajar and Levine. If you've been involved in a hit-and-run accident, call the law offices of Anajar and Levine Sabine at 904-600-4000.
Office in Jacksonville.
When someone walks in to our home through those doors, we want him to feel something different.
Meet Diamonds Direct President Itai Berger.
The vision of this company was to be a positive disruptor in the industry and do things different and bring tremendous value to the customer.
What's the secret for delivering that value? It's Diamonds Direct's worldwide connections and tremendous buying power, giving them the ability to eliminate all the middleman markups.
This company is vertically integrated to the entire process of how a diamond is being mined, cut, sold, shipped here to the U.S., and turned around and sold to the public. We cut all those middlemen.
But it's also Diamonds Direct's unbeatable selection, free lifetime warranty, industry-leading guarantees, and no-holds-barred diamond education.
I'm very proud in the way we educate our customers because we have the selection that allows us to really educate them to make the smart decision for them.
Discover the concept that's forever changing how people buy diamonds, not just here, but all across America.
The no middleman approach allowed us to create something really, really special.
Diamonds Direct, Jacksonville's direct diamond importer, at the Markets at Town Center between West Marine and REI.
The 2019 Harrell and Harrell Performance Studio is here, and it's better than ever. It's your chance to meet the personalities on the new ESPN 690. Sit in the front row and ask your questions to athletes in town, sports analysts, and experts. You'll be able to see them in person. It's going to be the best year yet. So listen to ESPN 690 for your chance to win your way in throughout the year. It's the Harrell and Harrell Performance Studio. Brought to you by Harrell and Harrell.
Why do local women watch Action News, Jax? Because the unexpected can mess up their day. They like to know about the rain, the recalls, and school changes because their families are depending on them. They need more than just crime stories. They want to be in the know with real investigations that truly impact them, not something they can just Google. Is that selfish? We don't think so. Their time is valuable. In fact, more women are now watching Action News, Jax than any other station.
The 4th annual Touch a Truck event is coming to Jacksonville March 30th at the Regency Square Mall parking lot. We are offering First Coast families the chance and opportunity to climb all over trucks and vehicles that are normally off limits. Guests are asked to bring non-perishable items to be donated to Feeding Northeast Florida. You can find more information, visit ESPN690.com or find us on social media. Just search ESPN 690.
It's time for another shout out to all the North Florida poker fans. This is Allie McDeal from both Best Bet Poker Rooms in Jacksonville and Orange Park. It's time for you to learn how to play poker, and we're here to help. Attend our Poker 101 class for complete poker rookies on the 30th of this month. You'll walk away confident and ready to hit the tables. Our next one-day seminar will take place on March 30th at Best Bet Orange Park from noon to 5 p.m. Bring your game face and learn to play from the best. For more details, visit bestbetjax.com.
The spread and that college-style offense. Listen, in 3 years, you might see the Big 12 be run by the NFL because it's the exact same kind of offense that's going on here.
Action Sports Jax with Brent Martineau. Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on ESPN 690.
This is Action Sports Jax with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
I'm not sure there's a lot of work getting done at the Action News Jax and Cox Media Group radio
Shots fired, Brent.
right now.
What's up?
Well, there's $625 million for the Powerball on the line, right?
Sure.
So I think there's a group email that
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that.
Were you on that?
I'm part of the Cox family.
Wow,
yes, sir.
you were on that.
I am on that.
That's like feels like you're in now.
Yeah, I know, right?
Like I've got to feel like you're a bit of an outsider.
Yep.
Now that makes me feel like you're in.
Yeah, I'm part of the team. I'm part of the family.
That's pretty good. How about you, Kuz? Were you on it?
I was on the email. I was actually getting really frustrated because it made my mailbox fill up twice.
Yeah, there was a lot of people going back and forth. Well, I chipped in. Okay, so here's the deal.
I saw.
Everybody said, do you want to go in and pitch in some money and group tickets for the lottery, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of those deals. So I put $10 in.
Oh, that's cute, Brent.
Because I figured, really, I was like, I'm not putting $2 in. I'm not Venmoing somebody $2. So I'll Venmo $10. By the way, Venmo's the greatest.
Isn't it? Well, that and PayPal, yeah, they're.
I love it.
It's the real deal.
All right. So anyway, I just got the update. The tickets have been purchased. We had $520 in Venmo, $620 in cash, making for a total of $1,140 worth of tickets.
Jeez.
Hey, everybody in that station back home, Next time I ask for money for like the Action Sports Jacks Dream 18, you better pony up.
Yeah, at least for a good cause and not just going to the lottery where no one's going to win it.
You selfish sons of guns just trying to get out of your job.
Yeah.
Yeah, Austin, I was going to say, we're going to, if they do hit the Powerball, I feel like you and me might be the only people in the building after all of this.
Oh, Coos, there's ways to get some of that cash. I'm not even worried about that aspect of it.
You're not, huh?
Brent, I will hire a hacking team out of Russia if I have to, put our names in that email. There are ways around it, so don't even get me started, all right? Don't even get me started about me not paying me.
Well, you've gone deep then if you've already thought about hiring a hacking team out of Russia.
I have thought about it, Brent.
I might be in some trouble. I've already admitted that I wasn't in it on air. So
Because I'm telling you, I'm a sucker for that. Like, I'm the guy that says, can you imagine if these people actually win and I don't put money in?
Right.
Like, I don't want to be that guy. Like, I really don't. Like, I thought about it. That's why I'm going to probably go buy my own tickets because I want all the $625 million myself. Because I too can be selfish.
See,
but I don't want to be the guy that everybody else in that building wins or 100 people win and I'm not in it.
Why wouldn't you spend it on something else? Like, why don't you place like a big time bet or something like that?
I can do that too.
Well, I mean, see, like I like doing that because then you have control of it. I mean, the lottery, it's the lottery. Like you have no control. I mean, I guess you can pick your numbers, can't you, or not?
Yeah, you can.
Do that?
Yeah,
okay, so I guess there's that, but. I'd rather place like a big bet with like a fight or like a basketball game or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, but you're not going to play. Okay,
By the
$2 bet is not a big bet though.
Well,
I mean,
Brent,
I can get in for $2.
By the way, Brent,
I've had some pros say that there's this thing called a parlay. We can actually take more than one team and bet. So maybe bet the whole first day of the games or whatever like that and see what happens.
I think I got a better chance to win the lottery.
I don't know. Stuart was pretty close.
Our boss, by the way, chiming in says everyone at work is going to make about just under $6 million each.
Is that it?
There's a lot of people involved, man. Did you see how many emails were going on?
Oh, yeah.
See, that's crap. Like, see,
How much do you want, man?
I seriously do not want to win the $625 million jackpot and only win $6 million.
Hey.
That is unbelievable.
That's why you can buy your own tonight.
I'm going to tell you right now, I'd rather not win.
Okay.
Hey, Brent. Hey, like I said, it just if you want to go ahead and bring me on board, I can have some people mix up those numbers a little bit, and maybe get a little extra cash in your pocket there.
Unbelievable. That's how much we're going to
maybe that $6 million turns into $50 million.
All right. I still hope we win, I guess. How about this, though? This is secure now. The tickets will be kept in a locked box at the station for safekeeping.
Give me
also, there's an Excel file. 92 people participated. Yeah, so you're right.
All right, Brent. So say you get $6 million, you win it, crowd goes wild. What are you doing first?
I'm not coming out of hiding, by the way, for a couple weeks or months. I'm pushing a little bit, which is kind of stupid.
The show, then?
Well, it's kind of dumb because no. I'm just not telling you that I have the winning ticket. Is my point. Because everybody the next day wants to be like, who won, like, and they want to see who the person is, and then you get this treatment, and everybody comes and talks to you. And the best thing to do is kind of hang low, I think. But the danger in that is getting hit by a bus the next day and not being able to spend any.
Good point.
So I don't want that to happen.
I think you immediately
it'd be a shame
if
it went to your kids and your kids had to spend it.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, I don't want
to think about yourself.
I don't want to get hit by a bus for a couple of reasons, but especially if I got $6 million.
The fact that the first thing that goes through Brent Martineau's mind about getting hit by a bus would be the fact that he can't spend the money as opposed to his family missing him. Yeah. Unbelievable.
I still say I maintain this. I will work.
Oh, there's no chance I'd be working if I won.
Oh, I would.
I'd be gone.
But
I'd come and produce this. I'd do this, and then I'd be out.
Thanks, Coos.
Yeah, 3 hours a day, right?
And every time you guys got mad at me, I'd just hold up like a 100 and be like, calm down.
My bad.
This is what I always say, though. Where our place is, I would stay working, and I would buy the building across the street. You know what that is? I don't even know what the company is, but across the street, but it's a big building. And I would buy that building, and I would make it a sports office. But it wouldn't only be a sports office.
Okay.
It would have a basketball court in there. We'd have a bowling alley in there. We might even have a couple of holes in there. Top golf move over.
Now we're talking.
And so this would be the best sports office ever. Gym, showers, everything.
Love it.
And I'd probably add a couple people, too, because I'm not working much as I work now. But I seriously don't think I would quit. I'd love to put that to the test.
So here's the thing. If we go across the street, well, I'm saying we because we're Team Brent, and I'm getting some of that money too.
By the way, I will gladly give you some. But the tax laws only allow me to give you so much. I'm sorry.
Okay, fair enough. So say that we go across the street. Well, obviously we made some relationships. You have made more than I have. But, we made relationships across, at the original building. Are those people allowed to come hang out with us that aren't in the sports department, or are we just kind of saying deuces to them and finding some new friends?
It would be a small circle.
All right. We have to cut ties. I respect it, Brent. I respect it, man.
I mean, listen, I love you news producers, but all you news producers that cut my time all the time for a little extra weather,
see ya.
Sorry.
See ya.
Not coming over to our building.
I like it, man. Business for the business, man. I love it.
All right, what you got for balling?
Oh, yeah, let's get into that.
I'm balling with millions. Even
all
6 of them.
Please hold, because on my iPad where my balling is, I'm actually watching basketball. So
all right, are you going John Morant?
Well, I was going to go John Morant.
Are you? Well, let's play. He's going John Morant. Let's send the highlight to him. Come on, Goose.
The tournament's 2 leading scorers, and hammers it home. It's a Jaw Jam.
Come on and slam. And welcome to Jaw Jams. Yep. So John Morant, I don't know, 17, 16, and 11. Kuz, is that good or not?
That's a good one, I told you.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, right? I mean, just putting up triple-doubles in the NCAA tournament. First guy to do that, I think, since who? Dwayne Wade from Marquette. Interesting little tidbit there for you guys. Listen, everyone's talking about John Morant. He's one of the next big things, 17, 16, and 11. But you got to understand, in Murray State, he calls that another Thursday. So everybody just relax. He's got plenty more left in the tank. Florida State better watch out. Murray State's coming for you. Racer Nation, it's time to mount up. We're going to need everyone in full support. Let's go Racers.
Let me ask you this seriously. He might be the number second best player in the country.
Yes.
How good of a pro is he going to be? Because it doesn't always translate, man. I don't care what anybody said. It doesn't always translate.
So I'm gonna say this. So
I'm concerned about his size a little bit. Is he too thin? Will he add more to that frame?
Oh, of course. Yeah, you're going to add more. So before him, there's been 2 guys in my time at Murray State that went to the pros as well. One guy by the name of Isaiah Cannon and another guy by the name of Cam Payne, who me and Kuz have talked about before. So with those guys, they were strictly shooters. They're both guards, actually. They were strictly shooters, couldn't really facilitate and create their own shots, per se. So from that perspective, he's definitely the best Murray State prospect I've ever seen. And I think he's going to be successful at the next level because you've seen his vision. And he can do everything. I mean, the guy plays defense. He can facilitate. He can shoot. He can create his own shot. He can drive to the basket. And, oh, yeah, by the way, he's got about like a 40-inch vertical, can jump over people, too.
Well, and that athleticism translates.
Exactly. So from that perspective, I feel like he's going to be a great pick for whoever takes him.
I really do.
Who knows?
I'll give you
Maybe
my ball.
Maybe the Cavs will take him.
Yeah, I'll give you my ball, and we got Fallen coming up next on ESPN 690.
ESPN 690 Sports Center Update.
I'm Aaron, and I got to ask, how's that bracket looking? Because while a few of you are going to be starting from scratch, the Knowles Gators, they get to keep dancing.
Haven't got it into Cabingelli much. Now they do. He's got 3 green jerseys around him. Fights through them and jams it through. Wow. Shows a lot of emotion after banging his way through.
For us to make that play, for me to make that play, inspire everyone. It got everybody going, and we executed really well in the second half.
Fiondu Cabingelli on the mic right there. He leads the Knowles with 21 points and 10 boards, including that flush you just heard. FSU winning a tight one against Vermont, 76-69. Florida State's going to face 12-seed Murray State next, tomorrow night at 6 p.m. And the Gators have their dancing shoes still firmly strapped to their feet. UF upsetting 7-seed Nevada, 70-61. Kavarius Hayes, the lead scorer for the Gators, 16 points, shooting 5 of 6 from the floor, doing all those people out in Live Oak proud. Don't miss a second of NCAA March Madness action. You can get the latest updates, including live scoring at ESPN690.com.
Hey, everybody, this is Brent Martineau of Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. And if you're even thinking about taking a look at a new car, you need to go see my friends at the new Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville. If you haven't seen the new 2019 Hyundai Kona, head over to Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville on Atlantic Boulevard and take it for a test drive. The 2019 Hyundai Kona was named the North American Utility Vehicle of the Year. It has enough room for the family, but it's not too big. It really is the ideal crossover vehicle. If you don't need something as big as a crossover or full-sized SUV, check out the new 2019 Hyundai Elantra sedan. It's a very slick car, and it starts at only $17,985. The manufacturer also offers $2,000 cash back on select 2019 Hyundai Elantras, but the offer is only valid through April 1st. The Hyundai you want, the service you deserve, all with a 7-day money-back guarantee. Schedule a test drive at Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville.com and make sure you tell them Brent Martineau sent you.
It's time for some straight talk. Picture this. Your favorite team is playing. You're streaming the game. 10 seconds left. Your team shoots. Oops, your data runs out.
Look, don't let that happen. Switch to Straight Talk Wireless and get 25 gigs of high-speed data, all on America's largest and most dependable 4G LTE networks.
Join Team Straight Talk and get unlimited talk and text plus 25 gigs of high-speed data for just $45 a month.
Straight Talk Wireless, everything for less, only at Walmart.
First 25 gigs at high speed, then 2G. See terms at straighttalk.com.
It's the Pro Appreciation Event all week long, only at the Home Depot, where pros will find savings they'll appreciate, like 25% off Behr Pro paint, and Pro Extra members will find even more money-saving offers, special discounts, and added perks. This week, if you're a pro, there's a lot in store for you. The Pro Appreciation Event, just for pros, all week long, only at the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. Offer valid March 18th through March 24th. See store for details.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN 690. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station. ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Doug Brown. Could it happen again? Right now, Gardner-Webb leads number 1 seed Virginia 36-30 in the final minute of the first half. At one point, Gardner-Webb led by 14. Virginia was the first number 1 seed to lose in the first round last year to UMBC. Earlier today, a first-round win for Texas Tech.
Mooney will inbound baseline right. 1-4 high set. Boat goes to the bench. Mooney gets it into Culver. Right wing open for a 3. Got it. Jared Culver's got 20.
On the Westwood One NCAA radio network, Culver finishes with 29, and the Red Raiders beat Northern Kentucky 72-57. Other finals today, Oklahoma beats Ole Miss 95-72. Iowa takes out Cincinnati 79-72. Florida State senior Phil Kofer is still with the team. The Seminoles will play Murray State tomorrow night. His dad, Mike Kofer, the former Lions linebacker, died Thursday at 58 years old. The Red Sox will sign lefty Chris Sale to a 5-year, $145 million extension.
With the Vivid Seats app, it's easy to find awesome seats to any game. Go to the App Store or Google Play and download the app and enter promo code CHAMPS at checkout to get 10% off your first order. Don't buy just any seat. Get a Vivid seat.
You watch Action Sports Jax on CBS 47 and Fox 30. Now Action Sports Jax is on your radio.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios.
Here's your host, Brent Martineau.
Oh, look out, Virginia. Not good. Down by 10 to Gardner-Webb. I think they are cutting into the lead as we speak, but we will keep you posted on that one. They were down by 14 moments ago. You just heard the update. UC Irvine up by 2. Less than 4 minutes to go over Kansas State. Guess who might have picked UC Irvine? Go Anteaters.
Austin
Tennessee
Lane did.
Up by, you did too.
Yeah.
Tennessee up by 12 over Colgate. No problem at halftime. Gardner-Webb at halftime up by 6. Listen, Virginia's going to win that game. Don't be worried, Cavs fans. Virginia will win
Is
the
that
game.
what you said last year,
Texas,
too?
I don't know. I forget what I said. Although I always believe their upset capability because they don't score a ton of points. The style
so
they play. But I will say this: as good as they play defense, for Gardner-Webb to have 36 points in the first half, that's an impressive showing. Let me check, in fact, on that because I want to see what they're shooting. They've got to be shooting the lights out. 53.6%, and they've hit 4 of 9 from downtown. I mean, it's not unbelievable, but it's still pretty good against one of the best defensive teams in the country. Texas Tech wins earlier today. Iowa was a winner. Oklahoma a winner in blowout fashion over Ole Miss, and we've got a bunch more games coming up. So we'll keep you updated. 2.5 now to go with UC Irvine, and they're up by 2 points over Kansas State. Brent Martineau, Austin Lane, Coos is back in the studio. We are at Intuition Ale right here. Of course, you know where it is, right near TIAA Bank Field, right near the arena where the NCAA tournament is. Well, I wouldn't say take a break because there are shoot-arounds and news conferences in the building today, but they'll be back at it tomorrow early in the day, noon and 2 o'clock for those 2 games here in Jacksonville. And, of course, we're right next to the baseball grounds as well. And opening day for the Jumbo Shrimp, not too far away. It's coming up on April 4th. Let's get to a little ballin' and fallin'. You already did your ballin'. My ballin's really quick. Oh, I forgot the happy hour horn. Well, we're at the ultimate place for the happy hour horn.
Yes, we are.
And I almost forgot about it. Just a reminder, Coos, get ready
Let me
to
warm up these pipes
because it's going to get loud here in a moment. Here it is.
Well, you know what? They're doing that. They're grabbing a drink. They're tipping their star tenders and they're getting a shot. So I guess just keep doing what you guys are doing.
Yeah,
that's all I got to say. I mean, I'd like to encourage them, but they seem to get the hang of it.
But
so.
Tip the star tender is really important.
Tip the star tenders, yes. Tip your star tenders.
Maybe you should buy everybody a drink in here, Austin.
Well, that's an idea. That's for sure, Brent. That's some kind of idea.
That's the first time people have turned around in a while. Once I suggested that,
I know, right? Yep, and all of a sudden people are starting to become fans again.
All right, ballin' and fallin'. You did yours. Mine's simple, and we already talked about it, so I'm not going to belabor it. But it was Fletcher Magee last night, not only because of what he did, but also he set the record for three-pointers in a career, too, more than 500 three-pointers. I mean, the guy's been fantastic. Shame on us that we don't know more about him, probably. Shame on the casual basketball fan. You don't get to see Wofford a lot and probably didn't know much about him, but that's what the tournament, once again, is all about. It gives a little bit of a spotlight and a limelight to these kids that really are good basketball players. You know, I was watching that, which one was it? Was it Yale? No, it was Abilene Christian in Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sometimes you look at a 15-2 game or a 16-1 game and you're like, they don't even belong on the same court. Like, this is different basketball. And you know what? That's what's the beauty of NCAA tournament basketball is it's changed. The parity is so much closer, partly because some of these teams are playing with juniors and seniors and some have little kids and freshmen, you know.
Yeah.
So there's a difference there. But like Abilene Christian, even though they got blown out, athletically, you know, basketball-wise, they weren't as good. Athletically, they were still outmanned. But it wasn't like this is the varsity versus the JV. It didn't have that feel watching the game. Now, it ended up looking like that again at the final score.
Yeah.
But, and you know, they're going to win 100 out of 100 times probably. Mm-hmm. I'm just talking about the athlete. The athlete is so good nowadays that across 320-something basketball programs, I mean, those kids are legit. I mean, they can play. They've played AAU together with Kentucky guys and Michigan State guys and Duke guys. Just what happens now.
And that's the sport of basketball. You know, like you don't really see that too much in football per se. Like every once in a while, there'll be like an FCS school that'll be a legit, you know, beat a legit D1 school. I mean, Appalachian State beating Michigan, Georgia Southern, I think, beat Florida.
Yeah.
So every once in a while that happens, but it's definitely more common in basketball.
Yeah, it's harder to do. And then you trickle down, even go to baseball. Like it's a lot easier to happen in baseball. It happens all the time.
Yep.
You know, in baseball, we used to play Ohio State. We were a Division II school, and we'd lose by 1 run midweek.
So I'm gonna be honest. So was like Ohio State kind of like the World Series for you guys? I mean, obviously you guys have your own World Series, but did you guys kind of get up for that game a little bit more?
I think we got up because it was a cool facility.
Okay.
So you're playing in a nice facility, a D1 facility. So I think that was probably more so than the actual like a lot of those kids that were on my team were from the state of Ohio, had played with some of those guys in travel ball or Legion ball, whatever. So it wasn't like, oh my gosh. It didn't have that feel to it. Mm-hmm. Whereas I think if you played if we had come down here and played Florida, you know, so we did play Michigan State one year, but again, that's a northern team. Like we faced Mark Mulder one year, and that year I faced Mark Mulder and struck out on 3 pitches, and I was like, I could stand up here all day, and I don't think I'm hitting it.
Dude's pretty legit, yeah.
So, I mean, that's always fun. I think that's the fun of sports, though, even for these guys. They're going to tell their grandkids they were playing against some guy from Kentucky who then went on through a 15-year career in the NBA.
True.
That's what sports – that's the fun part of all this.
It's the beauty of sports.
Even if you're going to get hammered, there's still something fun about it. All right.
All right, so my fall quick. Not sure if you've been noticing, Brent, we've been spending so much time talking about basketball. Actually, the NCAA wrestling tournament is going on right now as well. Not really sure if you're a big wrestling guy or not, but it's been kind of fun to watch so far. Well, this is kind of under the wrestling umbrella. Not so much what happened at the tournament. There's actually another tournament going on, too, right now, and that is going on in Fort Lauderdale Beach for spring break.
I saw this.
A former college All-American in wrestling, Dylan Palacchio, is enjoying his spring break by posting up a challenge that any spring breaker that wants to come challenge him on the beach to take him down will get $1,000 if they are successful. Needless to say, I've seen a couple of videos of people attempting, and nobody has succeeded yet. I find it kind of funny, like, way to draw attention to yourself. He literally has a big sign that says, "Pin me for $1,000," and he's walking around with, and he's wearing shoes, by the way, too, on the beach. Like, he's wearing his wrestling shoes on the beach. Like, come on, dude. I mean, I guess everyone's got their own little thing, their own little gig, but could you be any more of a tool?
What? Listen, if you got, would you go do it for $1,000?
I mean, yeah, I would definitely challenge him for $1,000, but I wouldn't be the guy who's a good wrestler who's on the beach holding up a sign that says "Try to pin me for $1,000," wearing my wrestling shoes on the beach.
The thing about it is, what's in it for him? Like, people aren't giving him $1,000 if they lose. Is that it?
What do you think? What other reason why would he do this?
Well, I mean, I guess.
I mean,
I think it's kind of a fun thing. I'm surprised you're falling so much. I mean, I thought it was
just kind of a come on, man. But let's be honest. If we're talking about it, obviously it's got to be the real deal because, from Sports Takes perspective, Brent doesn't get bigger than ESPN 690. So if we're talking about this dude, he's officially made it. So you know what? I'm not going to hate it. I guess props to him.
I would like you. Where
is
it again?
He's in Fort Lauderdale Beach.
Fort Lauderdale.
Fort Lauderdale, yeah.
Fort Lauderdale Beach. So
should
that's
make
about a 4-hour ride. I think we should go, and I want you're grappling, right? You've trained in grappling a little bit.
And I don't want to sound cocky or anything, but the kid's like, I think 150 pounds. So I definitely have the size advantage. Okay. So I think I can get him down for sure.
Yeah, that's probably. Yeah, well, but he's challenging anybody.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's why I say we do it. So we go down there, Brent. Hopefully your wife and kids are cool with that. I'm sure mine won't be, but that's fine.
That's all right.
It's for $1,000.
We're coming back with $1,000.
Well, no. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go buy some more lotto tickets. Really get our beaks wet here with those lotto tickets. Really up our chances of winning the whole thing.
I like it. Speaking of falling, by the way, Kansas State's about to fall. UC Irvine 70-64 with 7 seconds to go. This thing's almost over. UC Irvine, the Anteaters. We saw a guy with an Anteater shirt on yesterday. He's going to be happy because look at the Anteaters. They're all fired up. They're going to win this game and move on to the second round.
Were you with me when I asked that guy where he got this shirt and what does it mean?
No, I didn't.
Okay, so you must have still been on the radio or something, but I had to ask that dude because he walked past us. He had like an old school vintage Anteater shirt on from, obviously UC Irvine. And I asked him, like, dude, I need to get one of those shirts. Where can I get it from? And he said, actually, there was some girl that I met on spring break had it, and she gave it to me. I'm like, okay, so that's not going to happen.
Okay.
But then it was funny because it had the word thwack on it. THAWK, I think. Like the Anteater was saying thwack. And I asked him, like, well, do you know what the thwack means on the shirt? He goes, yeah, that's the sound Anteaters make. I'm like, all right, cool. So I learned something new about Anteaters
There
yesterday.
You go. All right. Well, you're going to learn something new. Did you see my fallen is Cam Newton? Did you see this about Cam Newton?
Yeah, I wasn't going to talk about it. By
the way,
I don't know if it's appropriate for the show or not.
If you're
here comes Brent Martin.
Kids, if you got kids in the car, I don't know how you feel about this subject, so just giving you a warning. You can dial it down for a moment, and call time out to the kids.
Well,
but don't flip the station. Just turn it for a moment.
Can I just say one thing before you say this? So I saw this story. And I clicked on it. I'm like, oh, this would be good for Ballin' and Fallen. But I'm like, I'm not trying to be like immature for our audience and whatnot, so it probably won't be that appropriate. And then you come in here, and this is your Fallen, so take it away, man.
Well, I mean, it's simple, really. I mean, Cam Newton says, like, who says this, first of all?
I know.
And so Cam Newton's got too many people in his ear because he says he's not having sex for the next month to get his mind right. Well, I've got some advice for Cam Newton. Cam, just get married and that won't be a problem.
Mic drop. All right, guys, we'll see you later. I think I've heard all I need to hear today.
And he, by the way, he's had his girlfriend of 5 years. They have 3 kids together. They are not getting married. Like, they have not got married.
Interesting.
So
Well, I mean, do you know the whole philosophy behind it, though, honestly, or not?
I really don't. I didn't read up on it, but I just feel like you're overthinking it if you've got to this point.
So that they say there's an old pro boxing thing, actually, where they used to tell pro boxers, to abstain for like about a month out of training camp.
Didn't we do that in the podcast, the Rogan podcast with Tyson? Didn't he say something about it?
Yeah. Tyson Fury said that, yeah.
Well, Tyson Fury, not Mike Tyson.
No, I think it was Tyson Fury that said it. But, so there's the whole philosophy, like, if you're going through a fight camp or whatever, that you should abstain because it's going to make your legs weak and it's not going to have you focus on the fight. Yeah. That's the theory behind it.
Well, you believe it if you want to believe it.
Yeah, I'm all set.
That.
I'm good.
See, I think we avoided it with the kid. I mean,
that was good.
Turn the radio back up.
We're good.
It's fine.
And we're back.
We're fine. And we're back. And we'll come back after this. UC Irvine just pulled the upset of the day, 70-64, but we've got another one brewing. Virginia. Could it happen again to Virginia? UVA down by 6 at halftime to 16-seed Gardner-Webb. 20 more minutes to go in that one to tell the complete story. When we come back, too much money in college football. Is it legit? Someone chimes in about it, but it might be their fault too. We'll talk all about it. It's kind of complicated. You'll hear it next on ESPN 690.
Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Want a fresh one? Hey, everybody, this is Brent Martineau, and if you're looking for something to eat in Northeast Florida, try Renna's Pizza. Family-owned and operated. New York-style pizza. Everything made fresh, in-house daily. Try the lunch specials or come by and pick up your favorite pizza for dinner. For a limited time, buy any large or extra-large pizza and receive 6 fresh garlic knots for free. Just tell them Brent Martineau sent you. Find out why Renna's has been a family favorite for over 40 years. 5 locations in Northeast Florida. Renna's Pizza. Give them a try today.
It seems as if everyone is calling themselves an expert these days. Not when it comes to lawyers. The Florida Bar limits who can use the term expert to only those lawyers who are board certified. I'm one of the youngest board certified civil trial lawyers in Northeast Florida and am proud to be called an expert. I am John Phillips. Give me a call, 444-4444, or visit floridajustice.com. Offices Jacksonville, Jacksonville Beach.
The best kept secret in tires is TireOutlet.com. Tire Outlet offers you wholesale prices with premium service. And most important, TireOutlet.com has always had a safety first focus. With locations throughout the First Coast, check out TireOutlet.com today.
311 and Dirty Heads just announced they're coming back to Jacksonville this summer on August 4th. Go to the contest page on ESPN690.com now and enter for your chance to win a pair of tickets to the show at Daly's Place. 311 and Dirty Heads with ESPN 690.
Hey, it's Mike Golick from Golick and Wingo. You're listening to Action Sports Jacks with our friend Brent Martineau on ESPN 690.
Glad to be at Intuition Ale here on a Friday afternoon. NCAA Tournament Week in Jacksonville and, of course, all across the country, 8 different sites. And we've got an upset. UC Irvine just beat Kansas State. Not bad for my bracket. I picked that. Don't you feel so good about yourself when you pick an upset like that, 13-4?
Hey, Brent, did you know that anteaters are toothless creatures?
Way to ruin the segue.
Well, yes, I'm happy with my bracket, too, that UC Irvine is going on.
You kept the topic, at least.
Well, yeah, that's...
They're toothless?
Yeah, well, I had a whole bit I was going to do, but you totally just threw it off the rails, so never mind.
I did not know that they were toothless.
Oh, yeah.
But it makes sense.
Well, I mean...
Why do you need teeth to eat an ant?
I was going to say it because they put on a gritty performance against Kansas State.
Yeah.
But it's whatever now, right?
That's
all
right.
good, man.
Don't try to one-up my Cam Newton.
It's no worries. I know, dude. That was good.
But UC Irvine does get the win. Do you have them into the Sweet 16? Is that what you said?
No, because I got Wisconsin going to the Sweet 16.
Oh, okay. I've got UC Irvine going to the Sweet 16. You know, it feels like there's always one team, like an 11 or a 13 or a 12, what it is. At least one. Sometimes you get 2. Mm-hmm. But it seems like there's one double-digit team, and you just got to find that right one. Hopefully UC Irvine is it for my bracket. We've got Tom Izzo talk coming up. That's a big talk around college basketball and really the sports world, probably water coolers after that scene, if you will, in the opening round for Michigan State. And they were pretty fortunate to survive as well over a very game Bradley team. on Thursday. So we will discuss that. You'll hear from Leonard Hamilton. You'll hear from Mike White coming up. Florida and Florida State conversation as they get set for round 2 tomorrow. They advance to another game. Will they advance past the weekend? We will soon find out in the next 24 hours. We'll keep updating you on the scores as well. Come down to Intuition Ale. Come check us out downtown. This is where it's all been happening the last couple of days with all the teams in town and their fan bases. Of course, 4 of them go home after last night's games, and 4 more to stay. That double header with the one session tomorrow begins a little bit afternoon time, and then the other game will be right around 2:30, 2:40 or so here in Jacksonville, Florida. Kentucky, Wofford, and I think a really good one now is LSU and Maryland. That shapes up to be a really good game to kick off all the coverage tomorrow in the NCAA tournament. But I want to talk a little football right now. We talk heavy basketball, of course, and the football stuff isn't really targeted at someone like a Cam Newton or anyone like that. But instead, I just saw this thing tweeted by Robert Klemko on my way in. I'm going to read it to you because you really have to set it up. It says, it's a quote. Let me make sure I get it right now. Talking to an NFL exec. For another story, he went off on his tremendous rant on college football and amateurism that he has to share. So this is from an NFL exec, remained anonymous, of course. Quote, this whole thing stinks. There's so much money at the college level, and if the good guys aren't going to pay you, then the bad guys are. You know, meaning the boosters. No,
that's an excellent point.
The college coaches are always honest about their kids leaving early, and I tell them until you start paying them, they're leaving. You have these huge TV contracts. You can pay 10 coaches on the staff $1 million, but you can't pay the players. It doesn't make sense. It's garbage, and everybody knows it's garbage. The NCAA, they're all crooks. It's extortion of these players because they're all beat up. In April, I see 350 physicals and listen to all the injuries, and it's just brutal. They're 22-year-olds. We can't draft him, or we knock him down the board, and the doctor says we might be able to get one contract out of him. They're never more marketable than the 4 years they're in college. Their stadiums are bigger than ours, and everyone paid $100 to get in and $50 to park, and the conference has a TV contract, and there's national TV, and the players don't get a dime. How in the world is this legal? If you or I were real talented at singing or playing guitar or rap, we would just go make a bunch of money. It's not like we have to go to some music school and let them reap millions off us first. We can go off on our own. These kids don't have the option. You throw in the fact that the average NFL career is 3 years, and it's just a travesty. I think there's a lot of things in there that are spot on. And now you got to give both sides of it. And that is something that we kind of talked about this a little bit yesterday, right? When we said college basketball and college football. But, see, college basketball isn't that expensive to run. Some teams take flights and charters and blah, 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 blah. But there's a lot of players in college football. So you're talking 100 guys, 85 scholarships. It's costly to have a college football program. But what our conversation yesterday was the ego of coaches in college basketball and football. It's all about them. It's less about the players. Well, this certainly speaks to that. Now, what the NFL has done to kind of join in this is they put a 3-year rule on college football players. You're not allowed to leave right after high school. You're not allowed to leave after year 1 or year 2 or then after year 3. So the NFL is helping the NCAA in college football with this extortion, if you want to call it that. So I thought the comments were...
I'll call it that all day.
I think, listen, there's a lot to this. College football and basketball have become big business. And what I've always said is if you don't want to acknowledge that it's big business, then that's on you. It is big business. That's just the bottom line. Now, if kids want to go sign up for it, well, that's on them, too. They know what they're getting into. But it also is their only path to the NFL. See, basketball's different. 1, you don't have to wait as long. 2, you can go play in Europe if you want to and then make your way back to the NBA. You have other alternatives. In football, unless one of these spring leagues really hits it, and you can make decent money in the spring league, you really don't have another alternative unless you're going to the CFL. You know, your alternatives are not near as what they are in other sports, is my point. So I'm not sure you can argue with too much what they're saying, although the NFL has to come together with the NCAA too and decide whether this 3-year rule is right or wrong.
I agree with that. I mean, I honestly think I have a simple solution to this whole ordeal, and not just in football but in all sports in general. So I think we can both agree, Brent, that football is probably the biggest moneymaker in college. I mean, in college athletics.
It
correct?
is, but let me stop you there for 1 second.
Okay, no,
because
go ahead.
I should have said this. Football is a huge moneymaker at Alabama. It's a huge moneymaker at Georgia and Florida and all the SEC schools and all the ACC schools with the SEC network, ACC network. But at JU down the road, football is not a big moneymaker. It's not a huge moneymaker. And at Division II schools and other schools, it's not. In fact, I always go back to this, and I don't know the fresh numbers, but when I was in college, they said the average football program loses like $250,000. This was before all the big money contracts. It's really changed. So, but I'm talking these smaller schools, not the big Power Fives. It's not always a moneymaker.
It's not always a moneymaker, but do you know why Alabama's making all the money? Because they win, correct?
They do win.
Yeah, okay. So that's got a big reason to do with it. If JU wins national championships, I bet JU makes some more money. So simple as that.
Well, it's not as simple as that because they've got to still be let into the SEC and the SEC network and the TV content.
Okay.
They're getting the money. Listen, Alabama's making a lot of money, and they've got a lot of boosters to help support.
Okay.
But the reason everybody's making a ton of money is because of the TV.
Well, then let's go look at UCF for a second. UCF's making a lot more money than they have been. Why? Because they're winning games.
That's fair.
So I think we can agree the more games you win, the more money you're probably going to make. So my idea, and this isn't just football, basketball, volleyball, softball, baseball, name your sport, is that each student gets to license his own name. Because if you're the most popular player on that field, if you're the most popular player on that court, your jersey's going to sell, correct? Well, they're making money off your jersey, so why don't you get some kind of cut from that? So my proposal would be for the fact that if your jerseys are in the stores, then you get a cut of that. Just like in the NFL, just like in any professional sport, you can license your own name. And I think if you do that, and if it's a softball, maybe a softball player is doing really well that season for maybe like an Alabama or a Tennessee team, and maybe fans are getting on board with her. Maybe there's an athlete that's struggling with some kind of, I don't know, like some kind of illness, something like that, or something bad happened. Well, then students can go out buy their jersey. So I think if you license the player's name, the players have, the control of their name and their, I guess you would call it
likeness.
Yeah, likeness. I think you solve a lot of issues.
Well, it's a good point, but now let's just be clear. Florida does not sell jerseys with Tim Tebow's name on the back or Felipe Frank's name on the back. Yeah. Now, they sell numbered jerseys. And all schools sell numbered jerseys, but they don't sell the names of the jersey. So they're not stealing the likeness. Now, the number is as close as you come, but there's a lot of – listen, I know some numbers transcend, but – I mean, do you even know? I mean, name a guy. Do you remember Reggie Bush's number in college?
5 or 2. It was 2 or 5.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
I can't remember. That's my point.
5.
Like, I can't remember.
Yeah,
but you're
5.
right. They would have. I like the principle of what you just said though. Is hey, if I'm a star, I can go.
It was 5.
Market this stuff. It was 5.
Yeah.
So I like the idea of that. Now that's the old Ed O'Bannon thing, right? From UCLA. Remember the with the games. Was it like the college a video game?
Yeah.
Where the he
NCAA
won that.
football
He won that.
and yep.
He won that thing, and that kind of changed, I think, the way like EA Sports and I'm kind of saying EA Sports. I'm thinking who else it might have been, but any of the video game companies use the likenesses of the college players as well. So. That's an interesting one. I'm sure there are some really down. You just brought it up, so I don't really know how to sift through it quick enough. Well, I'm sure there are some legalities and all that thing, but I like what you're saying. The principle of the matter is you could be a softball player that is extremely popular, and you could. It might not just be jerseys, by the way. I mean, it could be something that you have. Like maybe you come up with this necklace or bracelet or socks. Everybody loves socks these days, so maybe you come up with that, and that's your thing, and then you can sell it, and you have your own website. I kind of like the idea of that. I don't know if that completely solves the issue, but I understand at least from a
put
star
money in the athlete's pockets.
Yeah.
Well, and let's think about this. So, like you mentioned, you don't know, if there's some, I guess, legalities that we have to talk about. But I mean, let's talk from a moral standpoint, quick. So, you mean to tell me that when Tim Tebow was playing college football, and then you said it yourself, like they don't sell with his name on the back, but there's 15s everywhere in that pro shop. So. Tim Tebow was the face of Florida for a long time. He's the face of college football for a long time. So you mean to tell me that for all the work that he put in and off the field, being a good ambassador to the game of football, you sell that number 15 in a pro shop, but you don't have his name on it, and he doesn't get a cut of that? how is that? I mean, I don't know if it's legal or not, but how is that morality? How is that right morally?
Yeah.
It's not.
Well, listen, I think
not.
Tebow is always the greatest example of this because Florida made so much and continues to make so much money off Tim Tebow, in my estimation. And listen, they're not breaking any rules by doing it. They just are. I mean, they got fortunate that they got Tim Tebow on their campus. Tim Tebow obviously became this ultra star, this global star, an iconic guy in many ways, and you can make a lot of money off that. So I don't disagree with what you're saying. I think Tebow, in this comment by this NFL exec, I think Tebow is at like the forefront of that. That kind of star nature is what he's talking about. It's big business. It's so much money. I wonder where it bubbles over. Listen, the housing market got so high, right, in 2005 and 6, but then it forced everybody into like that recession.
Yep.
It was really the banks and the housing market, in my opinion. You can only go so high. So where does the bubble burst on the dollars in college football and college basketball? The bottom line is right now it's not bursting. It's still going up, and nobody's slowing it down. But it will eventually. I don't know when that is, 5 years, 10 years.
ESPN 690 Sports Center Update.
I'm Aaron, and I got to ask, how's that bracket looking? Because while a few of you are going to be starting from scratch, the Noles and Gators, they get to keep dancing.
Haven't got it into Cabot-Daly much. Now they do. He's got 3 green jerseys around him. Fights through them and jams it through. Wow. Shows a lot of emotion after banging his way through.
For us to make that play, for me to make that play, inspired everyone. It got everybody going, and we executed really well in the second half.
Fiondu Kevin Galley on the mic right there. He leads the Noles with 21 points and 10 boards, including that flush you just heard. FSU winning a tight one against Vermont, 76-69. Florida State's going to face 12-seed Murray State next, tomorrow night at 6 p.m. And the Gators have their dancing shoes still firmly strapped to their feet. UF upsetting 7-seed Nevada, 70-61. Kavarius Hayes, the lead scorer for the Gators, 16 points, shooting 5 of 6 from the floor, doing all his people out in Live Oak proud. Don't miss a second of NCAA March Madness action. You can get the latest updates, including live scoring, at ESPN690.com.
Hi, this is Earl Ron, president of New South Window. New South is Florida's factory direct window company. We manufacture, install, and guarantee your windows for life. One company, one call. Our replacement windows are made to better enhance the energy efficiency of your home and stand up to Florida weather. New South Window, home of the ultimate Florida window for you. Made in Florida, for Florida homes, by Florida workers, because we know Florida weather.
Buy more, save more. Volume discount up to 30%. Visit newsouthwindow.com.
Hey everybody, this is Brent Martineau. Get the protection you deserve. If you've received a letter from the IRS and you can't pay them, things can get bad quickly. The IRS can seize your bank account, garnish your wages, and place liens against everything you own. If this is you, contact J. David Tax Law, a local firm right here in Jacksonville. Your first step to stop IRS harassment is a no-cost consultation. They explain exactly your options and how they will resolve your tax issue. Only highly experienced tax attorneys will represent you, and fee payment plans are affordable for everyone. Get the protection you deserve. Peace of mind only a click or phone call away. The fastest way to get started is to call 904-507-4777, 904-507-4777, or online at jdavidtaxlaw.com. Get the protection you deserve. The number again, 904-507-4777, or online at jdavidtaxlaw.com.
Most shoppers today fall into one of two categories. You could be like Dave, who settles for nothing but the finest.
I drive only European luxury sedans, wear the finest Italian leather shoes, my shirts are custom made, and I expect white glove service from those I do business with. I appreciate world-class brands, and at this point in my life, I just don't want to compromise on quality, no matter what I buy.
Or you might be like Steve, whose goal is to always get the best deal.
I'm frugal. I'm all about finding value. I want the best price, and I don't mind going out of my way to get it. I work hard for my money. I just want to make sure when I buy something, I can have confidence in knowing I'm not overpaying for it. Stop being cheap. It's being smart.
You never see these two guys in the same store, except for one.
And that's why I love shopping at Diamonds Direct.
Diamonds Direct is that rare shopping experience where you can have it all. Uncompromising luxury and unbeatable value. Plus exceptional service and the guaranteed best price in America. A premium experience and a smart purchase. This is where the best of all worlds come together. Diamonds Direct at the markets at Town Center.
If Bell Demps had moved, Anthony Davis, as general manager for the New Orleans Pelicans, he would have been fired. You know, you had teams in smaller markets on the phone calling him, imploring him not to capitulate to the demands.
The Stephen A. Smith Show, weekdays from 1 to 3 p.m. on ESPN 690.
You watch Action Sports Jax on CBS 47 and Fox 30. Now Action Sports Jax is on your radio.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Here's your host, Brent Martineau.
Hey, welcome back to Intuition Ale here in Jacksonville, Florida. Good to have you along on a Friday afternoon. Beautiful day here in Jacksonville. Might have played a little golf this morning. I'll tell you what, everybody in Jacksonville, not everybody, but a lot of people in Jacksonville were playing golf today. So I go to Taiwan to play golf this morning.
First of all, before you start, who won?
We only played 9, and I beat him.
Okay.
See, I don't brag about when I beat him.
Okay.
I thought that was being nice.
Okay.
But we played 9. It was a little slow out there. We had to sneak in over at St. John's Golf Country Club because I go on like golfnow.com is where if you're looking for a tee time, it's a good place to go.
Okay.
And especially if it's late at night and the pro shops have been closed and all that. So I go on last night, and I actually thought I was going out to Eagle Harbor and thought we would play, and I had a tee time, but I tried to book it on there, and I was at the arena, and it never went through. I found out late last night. I was like, oh, shoot, never went through. So I tried to book it again. The tee time was already gone. Ooh. Well, the moral of the story is if you were looking to play with 2, 3, 4 people this morning, in Jacksonville, anywhere, I guarantee you couldn't get out until like 2:30, 3 o'clock. I mean, at any of the public courses. They were packed. I mean, beautiful weather. Snowbirds are probably leaving pretty soon. Spring break a little bit. And I think everybody was playing golf. So I looked at just probably 20 different courses, and they were all booked up. So, hey, good for the golf industry.
Golf's one of those sports, too, right, where if you – depending on what time you play, you might have to get paired up with like a bunch of strangers. Right?
We did. We got paired up with a couple of nice ladies today out at St. John's Golf Country
My question to you, like, have you ever come across like a weird instance, like where you're with a guy that's like, you know, kind of out there? I mean, I guess if you're playing golf, you're probably stable for the most part. But I mean, I'm sure it's not like Uber where
you get unstable pretty quick on a golf course.
But like, have you ever like played with a guy like that was just kind of awkward and not a really fun time? Or?
Not really, but I actually, you know, we did this Dream 18, and we started it up about 10 years ago, and now it's a golf tournament, and it started as a segment on TV, and we're going to probably bring that back this year with celebrities and First Tee kids and North Florida Junior Golf kids, all that thing. But I also thought of another segment where it would be like you go, I don't know what we'd call it, but you basically go to a golf course and you are the fourth person that already has 3 people or 2 people. And so you just show up. Because what I always find is, I don't mind going to the golf course and playing by myself. I have no problem.
Yeah.
I like playing golf, and it's, you know, a little me time, and you go play. So
you're outdoors.
You don't always get to control that. So, like, you might go and with the intention of playing by yourself, and then you get paired up with some people. Well, usually when you get paired up with some people, it's usually a fun experience. It's a cool experience, and you meet these folks from wherever that you just obviously had no idea about. Like one time I played with a guy who was down here, and I still don't remember his name. I always try to look this up and try to remember his name. But like back in the 50s or 60s, he was Rookie of the Year in the NHL for the Montreal Canadiens.
Dang.
I think he said. I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
But he was a hockey player for the Montreal. And I looked it up that day, and now I like totally forget who it was. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. You know, you just really meet up with it. So, but there are stories like that where old guys, young people, women. I mean, it's just. I think it's a fun part about golf is that you just go out there, and if there's a twosome or a threesome and they put you together and you join up, you're like, hey, where you from, what you do, and that's how you kind of meet some people. No different than maybe coming to Intuition Ale tonight.
Just like doing Uber.
In that sense. Just like doing Uber, right? Yeah, it kind of has that feel, right?
Yeah, that's exactly why I did Uber, was because like you meet new people and you share cool experiences and whatnot. So, yeah, very cool.
I think that's a lot like it. So, anyway, I hope everybody played well on the golf course today because there were a lot of people out there, and good for the golf business in town. That's fantastic. Virginia has taken the lead. They trailed Gardner-Webb by 14 at one point. They're now up 42-38. 58-55, Tennessee over Colgate. So Colgate has come back after being down, I think, by 16 in that game. Buffalo is ahead on Arizona State 24-16. I'm keeping my eye on that one. I've got Arizona State beating Buffalo, and Buffalo's a good team. Texas Tech won. UC Irvine upset Kansas State. Iowa comes back to beat Cincinnati, and Oklahoma beats Ole Miss as well. Plenty more games to come, and we will continue to discuss all of them. Right now, I want to go to the phone lines. Gary is on the phone. You're more than welcome, by the way, to call in 904-362-9901. I think Gary wants to talk a little bit about pay-to-play in college sports. What's up, man?
Good afternoon, gentlemen. How are you?
Doing well, Gary. How you doing?
I agree with you, Austin, about the tons of money that Florida made off Tebow. But how can you do it? All the other – there's going to be so many lawsuits. If you supplement these football players, these other sports that don't make money, that football – pays for, all these other sports programs, they're going to argue, look, we work just as hard for our scholarship and our sport. We should get paid what Tim Tebow gets paid. There'd be so many lawsuits in Title IX and everything. It would open up such a can of worms. You couldn't afford to pay all the athletes, then every program would go bankrupt. So I just don't see how you could fairly do it. The courts would be flooded with so many lawsuits. They say, look, we can't handle this. You can't do that. And they would overrule it. Thanks, guys. Have a good weekend.
Gary. Appreciate it. Have a great weekend here in Jacksonville. And, well, it's two different things, right? Gary's talking about pay to play, and I think you were talking, and maybe he is correct in this sense too, but you were talking about, listen, the third player on the tennis team can still license your name and own the rights to your name and market your name.
Yeah.
In your scenario.
Yep.
Just as much as the quarterback of the football team.
Listen, this is business. I mean, this is the fact that Tim Tebow brought how much money and still continues to bring so much money to the Florida Gators. And it's nothing like, look at Chris Leak. Chris Leak had some pretty good success, correct? But he's not that household name. Like,
he didn't transcend the sport.
If I go to Wisconsin right now and ask my friends, do you know who Chris Leak is? Maybe 3 out of 4 of them wouldn't even know who he was.
Yeah.
But I ask anybody who Tim Tebow is, everyone's going to know who Tim Tebow is. So the fact is, instead of just selling those 15 jerseys, you put Tebow's name on the back of them and give him a commission, give him a cut of that licensing, problem solved. And I see what you're saying, Gary, when it comes to Title IX. Well, that's not fair to the other athletics, but I say nay, because whether it's a gym, like we talked about, Caitlin Oashie from UCLA, who's kind of a household name now. She was on Ellen. She's all over SportsCenter. She put on one of the first perfect 10s in the gymnastics floor routine. If she's selling some kind of merchandise like a UCLA shirt with her name on it, she'll make some money too, because, I guarantee little girls watching on YouTube and watching on Facebook fell in love with her. So from my perspective, if you're the top athlete, if you're bringing money to the university, you should be reimbursed. You should be compensated. It's only right. Morally, it's right. So that's why they should license their name. Doesn't matter the sport. You can do golf. You can do wrestling. Sell wrestling T-shirts. Doesn't matter the sport. If you have control over your name, you can license it. You'll be reimbursed, because either you're going to be super popular and the school's making money off you, or maybe you're not so popular, so you're not going to be making as much money. It's just common
Brett
sense.
Martineau wouldn't be making a lot of money at Division II Ashland University. Zion Williamson would be rolling in millions and tens of millions and hundreds of millions, perhaps. But I think what's interesting to me, at face value, we talked YouTube, right?
Yeah.
A couple weeks back, and the toy kid who's making $32 million or whatever a year.
Yeah, Ryan. Yep.
Right? And he's reviewing toys on YouTube.
Yeah.
Now, listen, his parents might be kind of like the NCAA, and they might be keeping the money.
Well, I'm just going to say this, because my son is a junkie when it comes to Ryan. The first season they're in an apartment, and now they're like in a 3-story mansion in the middle of the Hollywood Hills. So take it how you want.
The point being, at face value, Ryan can make $32 million a year reviewing toys on Facebook. Mm-hmm. But Zion Williamson can make zero money dunking the basketball in emphatic fashion for Duke.
Mm-hmm.
And I think from that standpoint, just on face value, it's a heck of a point. Now, I do want to say one more thing about it, though. You went to Murray State and you went on a full ride, right?
Correct.
I went to Ashland University. It costs $20-something thousand a year, and I did not ever get a scholarship. I was a walk-on.
Okay.
So I knew that. I knew what I was going to pay, blah, 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 blah. You did that, and you said, hey, it's a great opportunity. Murray State's giving an opportunity to get an education for free. I don't have to pay. That's great, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was your view.
Yeah.
So what I'm curious about, would your view have changed? See, because that was Tim Tebow's view when he came out of high school, too. Tim Tebow might have been this great recruit. and he might have been this awesome football player. But he had no idea his stock and his value was about to do what it did over the last 15 years because of his career at Florida, right? I mean, there's no way he could have predicted that.
Nobody could have. Exactly.
Nobody could predict that.
You're absolutely right with
so
that.
You sign up for this saying, hey, there's got to be something to be said, is my point, for Zion Williamson's stock has risen through the roof with endorsement dollars to come, Nike or whoever shoe, and maybe even his draft potential where he gets picked because of Duke University. I just don't think you can dismiss that. Now, Zion Williamson would have gone to the NBA regardless of Duke University, yes. But I'm telling you, Duke University has helped him make millions of more dollars because of the platform. And, oh, by the way, the NCAA is helping him too because they are about to help him make millions of more dollars if Duke goes on a run and wins 6 games and wins the national title.
That's a good point, but at the same time, you look at guys like Johnny Manziel. Not that's the most prime example because he already had a lot of money coming into college.
Yeah.
But the fact was,
his parents did.
Yeah, but it wasn't like Texas A&M was helping Johnny Manziel. I feel like Johnny Manziel helped Texas A&M and kind of put them on the map a little bit. So from that standpoint, I mean, he should be getting compensated as well.
Yeah,
simple as that.
Yeah, and I don't totally disagree, but you just. That's what muddies this up so much, is that you don't know, okay, how much was the school versus how much is, that's a debate. That's a decent debate.
And at the end of the day with Tim Tebow, yes, I mean, he was going to be talented wherever he went, but you got to remember the hard work and dedication that he put into his craft.
Yeah.
That it took to get to the top, the Heisman Trophy winner. So from that perspective, he should be reimbursed for that hard work.
Well, and he's making millions, by the way. And he has made millions. So it's not like he got nothing out of it.
Yep, exactly.
At least for that part. Hey, more to come on ESPN 690. Stay in your lane as well. And we got to get to the Tom Izzo conversation coming up.
See. Very intrigued by the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
Is an unhappy Thon Maker the answer? 53% of the audience said yes.
Thon Maker is going to excite anybody who hasn't seen Thon Maker play, correct? Like, that guy walks into the room.
How'd we get him?
That guy's great. I would draft him first overall every time.
The Dan Le Batard Show with the Stuttgarts on ESPN Radio and ESPN News.
Hey, everybody, this is Brent Martin of Action Sports Jackson. Many of you know by now I'm a huge advocate for Hyundai vehicles. We actually drive a Hyundai in our family, and if you're in the market for a new vehicle, take it from me. There's no better place to buy a new or pre-owned vehicle than Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville. The car buying experience should be smooth and seamless, and that's the experience you'll get from my friends at Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville. Take a look at their specials and incentives at JenkinsHyundaiofJacksonville.com. All you have to do is click the Specials tab, and you can find specials and incentives for new Hyundai vehicles. One thing you don't have to worry about at Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville is being haggled by a salesperson. Their sales staff are pros, and they're on your team from getting you into the car you want with the best possible financing plan. Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville is second to none. Schedule a test drive at JenkinsHyundaiofJacksonville.com or at the showroom on Atlantic Boulevard. And tell them Brent Martineau from Action Sports Jacks sent you.
Did you know that March is Florida Bicycle Month? In Florida, bicycles are vehicles and have the same rights and the same responsibilities as other vehicles on the road. For more bicycle safety information, visit alerttodayflorida.com.
Every day,
every hour,
every minute,
every second
is an opportunity to change your life. If you or a loved one has a gambling problem, don't wait time to get the help you need. Call the 24-hour confidential problem gambling helpline at 888-ADMIT-IT. That's 888-ADMIT-IT. Your hope for a new tomorrow. All services are free to Florida residents, including treatment.
This message is sponsored by the Florida Council on Compulsive Gambling, the Florida Association of Broadcasters, and this radio station.
When things go wrong, you need help to make it right. Call the law offices of John Phillips at 904-444-4444. John will be by your side as an advocate and as a friend. Personal injury, family, and criminal law. If trouble finds you, John Phillips can help. He is a board-certified expert in civil trial. Give John a call, 904-444-4444, or visit FloridaJustice.com.
Sports Center updates at the top and bottom of every hour. And the latest breaking news in sports around the clock. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. This is ESPN 690.
Now, back to Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
All right, welcome back to ESPN 690. Brent, I don't know if he's sneaking beers in the back of what Brent's doing right now. Maybe he's loading the keg into his trunk, but guess what? He gave me the keys, so me and Kuz are going to try not to crash. We haven't been drinking, so we're not going to blow a DUI or anything like that. So, Kuz, let's keep it on the road. How's that sound?
I mean, hey, you don't know what I've been drinking back here.
Okay, well, I guess I'm going to be on this by myself. All good, but I guess now would be the most opportune time to start the segment of Stay in Your Lane. And let me just preface this by saying, listen, there are some times when I'm going through articles and whatnot, Kuz, for these shows, and, I'm doing, like, the Ballin' and Fallins, where I'm like, maybe it's not the most radio-friendly topic, because we have kids listening too. But ever since Brent's Cam Newton comment, I'm just going to put all caution to the wind. I'm just going to say whatever I want to say from now on, because I guess we're one of those radio shows. We're one of those Howard Stern shock jock radio shows
Come
now.
on, that wasn't that bad, man.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. So stay in your lane, going to cruise control. And Brent, I'm actually glad you're back because I wanted you to hear this story too. I'm not sure if you heard this one. The crisp, refreshing sounds of Diet Coke.
That was a Diet Coke.
Diet Coke.
Here at Intuition Ale, I hope you're drinking something else, but I'm drinking a Diet Coke, at least for now.
He's probably got some rum in there now.
Did you have to pay $5 for it again?
I don't even know. I just gave him my American Express. And I got some surprises coming for Austin, not for you.
Uh-oh.
Kuz, sorry, I can't send him over there.
You got some cheese curds?
And that's probably some more ESPN pens. Can't wait. All right, so stay in your lane. Brent, like I said, I'm glad you're back because this story I think you're going to appreciate. It should be right up your alley. So cruise control. Going out to Arizona Diamondbacks prospect Alex Thomas. Hit a 3-run homer yesterday against the Chicago White Sox, who were getting blown out at the time 11-3. The cool thing about this story is the fact, though, that Alex's dad, Alan Thomas, is actually the strength and conditioning coach of the opposing team, the White Sox. So they obviously they had the camera on the dad the whole time. And when Alex hit the home run, the dad was completely stone-faced. And I'm going to preface this right now. So I'm sure as anybody knows who has ever played a sport, strength and conditioning coaches, they're a little different breed, all right? They're a little, I'm not trying to say drill sergeant, but they're a little intense, a little serious. So obviously, Alex's dad, Alan, wasn't going to congratulate his son seeing how he's in the opposing team. So literally Alex, high-fives his teammates and whatnot, gets back to the dugout, and they still zoom in on his dad, and his dad's literally still stone-faced, like almost ticked off that his son hit the home run because, the White Sox are getting killed so bad. So Alex gets back to the dugout, smiling, just absolutely jubilated, looks over to the opposing dugout, is trying to wave at his dad who's sitting on the, on the bench across from him, trying to get his dad's attention. And his dad's not looking at him, and all of a sudden, like in the blink of a second, his dad saw Alex waving, and then his dad just kind of nodded and gave him kind of like a thumbs up, and then he said, "Zip it," like, be quiet. But, dude, it gave me goosebumps, man, because it's like, it was such a great scene. Like, obviously this kid, Alex Thomas, he isn't slated to make the team yet. I mean, he's obviously fighting for a roster spot, but just the fact that he did it against, one of his dad's team, basically, it's a really cool thing.
Well, or just the fact that, you could do that as a minor leaguer.
Yeah.
And if your dad's in the business, what's the chances he's there to see it if he's already with another organization?
Exactly.
These days you can see it everywhere on TV or what it seems like. But still, to be right there for that moment and then kind of have the silent treatment and try to ignore,
just give him a little
the whole
smirk,
thing was
man.
funny. So that was pretty cool. Minor league baseball is not glorious. It is a grinder. And for that guy to be able to have that moment, I think is pretty cool. Nice light moment. I tell you, we were talking about the lottery. Whether it's Bull Durham or name your favorite baseball movie. I mean, that is just something that would be so cool. Like that moment that he just had and his dad. Now, Dad doesn't have to be in the dugout. Dad can be in the stands. But that is, you can have your $6 million, everybody who wins. Give me a home run in the minor leagues or in that bat in the big leagues, and I'll take that one with me.
And you said it, Brent. Like, when it comes to the minor leagues, people don't understand. Like, so I have a cousin who's in the minors right now. The Marlins actually drafted him, but he's playing, I want to say, rookie ball right now. He was in Class A for a little bit as well. But it's just, it's so cutthroat, and he's a pitcher too, so I think there's a little more added pressure with that being as well. But, I mean, It's like I always tell them, obviously it's a stressful gig and you're playing basically for peanuts, but I tell them all the time, I'm like, listen, man, you're still playing the game that you love, so as long as you keep on doing it, take full advantage of it.
Yeah, there's a big push in minor league baseball to get them more money, actually.
Yeah.
They don't get a ton of money.
I hope so, man.
Now, some of the big stars, they sign for good money, like these couple million bucks.
Signing bonuses, yeah.
But still, like, at the end of the day, I mean, there are 50 rounds in minor league baseball.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could be, if you're the 22nd round pick, you're not getting this huge bonus.
Yeah.
So, it's not an easy life in the minors. It's very cutthroat because everybody's trying to get that spot in the bigs.
Without a doubt. So, let me just get back to my
As you
phone
find
here.
that, by the way,
Yeah,
Tennessee just hit a
do.
couple big threes. Under a minute to go, they're starting to pull away from Colgate. This was not easy. I didn't see that one coming. I thought Tennessee would handle Colgate no problem. Colgate put up a heck of a fight, but it looks like they will fall after a couple of contested threes. Tennessee knocks them down up by 9. Virginia is now taking a 13-point lead. I mean, that they hit the gas pedal.
Yep.
So they can all breathe and settle down a little bit. Virginia is going to win. Buffalo up by 11 as they near the half. Wisconsin just started against Oregon, and they're up by 3 points. Go ahead with Pump Your Brakes.
Pump Your Brakes. Brent, you know what time of year it is. We got some ice skating drama brewing up here in the States. Get excited, Intuition Ale House. All right, so South Korean Lim En-soo, her management team has issued a release saying that En-soo was the victim of bullying and also the victim of a blatant attack by American skater Maria Bell. Lim's management agency claims that Bell cut the teen's leg while the skaters were rehearsing before the women's short program. They allege that Lim had been slowly skating on the edge of the rink after completing her turn when the incident happened. Maria Bell, who was scheduled to rehearse after Lim, suddenly kicked and stabbed Lim's calf with her
that was a good
blades.
read right there by you.
Get this, though. Maria Bell didn't even apologize to Lim after that happened. So the incident is ongoing. The wound is treated and bandaged. No word if it was actually an intentional calf cut or if it was an accident, but definitely something you want to stay tuned here. We'll have an update on Monday with ESPN 690. I'll be sure to keep you guys close to the action when it comes to figure skating drama. Brent, you gotta love figure skating drama, dude. Come on.
Well, we've had some of it in the past, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they make 30 for 30s and documentaries and movies
and
people have lived their lives
Shout
off
out to
that
Tanya.
one. Tanya Harding.
Good movie.
You thought it was good?
Oh, I thought it was great. Did you see it?
No, I didn't.
Oh, dude,
I heard it was good, though. I heard a lot of people liked it.
It's really good. I'm not sure if it's all fabricated a little bit, but if that stuff actually happened the way they presented it in the movie, dude, absolutely insane.
I'm sure they fabricated it a little bit.
I hope so, because, man, some of that stuff in that movie is ridiculous.
By the way, golf today, Paul Casey has the lead at 600 par over in Tampa. Austin Cook and Luke Donald also tied for the lead. That course must be playing tough. I haven't watched much of the golf, but that's Innisbrook, and after 2 rounds, the lead is only 600 par, so I'll have to check that out this weekend on the TV. Russell Knox was 1 shot off the lead, made an albatross yesterday, made a 2 on a par 5. That was kind of cool, but it looks like he's struggling today because I can't even find Russell in the picture. I don't know what happened to him. But because of the golf, I did I thought we usually have a golf stat from Statboy, but instead he gives us a March Madness stat. Cool. How about this? Florida State has now won 77 games the last 3 seasons. The only Power 5 plus Big East teams with more wins over that span: Villanova, Michigan, Michigan State, Kansas, Duke, Virginia, North Carolina, Kentucky, Purdue, and Oregon. So let me read the names again. It's now 77, so 76 games over the last 3 seasons, but they won yesterday, so 77.
Okay, so it's going to be stuck at 77 going into the new season. Gotcha.
Michigan, Michigan State, Kansas, Duke, Villanova, Virginia, North Carolina, Kentucky. Then I would say the teams on the outskirts of that you also would guess Purdue, Oregon, and Florida State is in that mix. You know, Leonard Hamilton, I'm starting to think, we used to say, Leonard Hamilton, why are you still there? Now I'm starting to wonder if we don't say, Leonard Hamilton, why don't we give you enough credit? I mean, he has done a phenomenal job with that program. I don't know how any other way to look at it in the last couple of years. And as he gets older, his teams get better. And we'll talk more Florida and Florida State when we come back. And also Tom Izzo, a big topic of the day. An hour to go from Intuition Ale House here in Jacksonville. Come on down. Say hi after work. Maybe Austin will buy you a drink next on ESPN 690.
I might.
ESPN 690 SportsCenter update.
I'm Aaron, and I got to ask, how's that bracket looking? Because while a few of you are going to be starting from scratch, the Knowles Gators, they get to keep dancing.
Haven't got it into Cabendale much. Now they do. He's got 3 green jerseys around him. Fights through them and jams it through. Wow. Shows a lot of emotion after banging his way through.
For us to make that play, for me to make that play, inspired everyone. It got everybody going, and we executed really well in the second half.
Fiondu Cabendale on the mic right there. He leads the Knowles with 21 points and 10 boards, including that flush you just heard. FSU winning a tight one against Vermont, 76-69. Florida State's going to face 12-seed Murray State next, tomorrow night at 6 p.m. And the Gators have their dancing shoes still firmly strapped to their feet. UF upsetting 7-seed Nevada, 70-61. Kavarius Hayes, the lead scorer for the Gators, 16 points, shooting 5 of 6 from the floor, doing all those people out in Live Oak proud. Don't miss a second of NCAA March Madness action. You can get the latest updates, including live scoring, at ESPN690.com.
Have you always wanted to know a guy in the boat business? You now have a guy. Guy Morrison and his staff at Consignment Boat Sales will help you with selling or buying a boat. Consignment Boat Sales offers a professional and no-hassle way of helping boat owners sell their pre-owned boats and assisting soon-to-be boat owners with finding that quality pre-owned boat. Consignment Boat Sales will help you in valuing your boat, preparing it for market, performing water tests with potential buyers, and finalizing the sale by handling the closing documents. Consignment Boat Sales is looking for quality bay boats, flat boats, center consoles, skiffs, and deck boats from 14-foot to 30-foot. Find them just past the ferry landing on the way to the Mayport Public Boat Ramp. You now have a guy in the boat business. Find Guy at jaxboating.com. That's J-A-X boating.com. To help you sell your boat or purchase a pre-owned boat, contact Consignment Boat Sales today at jaxboating.com.
And now, a quick comparison from Grasshopper. When a client calls, what do you want them to hear? Your personal voicemail?
Hey, you've reached Greg's cell phone. I'm away right now, obviously. Leave a message and maybe I'll get back to you.
Or something a little more buttoned up, courtesy of Grasshopper.
Thanks for calling Green Landscaping. To make an appointment, dial 1. For billing, dial 2. To speak with Greg Smith, dial 3.
There's no contest. Put your best voice forward with Grasshopper, the virtual phone system for small business. Try it free at grasshopper.com.
With warmer weather just around the corner, there's no better time to tackle that next job. And at AutoZone, we have the free services to help you get it done. And if your check engine light is on, our free AutoZone Fix Finder service can help. Your check engine light may indicate a variety of issues, from a loose gas cap to a bad catalytic converter. No matter the problem, our free Fix Finder service will help you troubleshoot the likely cause, saving you time and money down the road. Let us help you at more than 5,600 locations nationwide. Restrictions and details in store.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN 690. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station. ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Doug Brown. More first-round games in the NCAA tournament. A big start for Oklahoma today against Ole Miss.
Up top, they've got it with Devontae Shuler. Headband on. He dumps into the post. It goes through the hands of Stevens. It's a turnover. Outlet up ahead. Odoms driving inside 1-on-2. He scores it, and he's fouled.
On the Westwood One NCAA radio network, the Sooners score the first 12 points of the game and cruise to a 95-72 win. 20 points each for Rashard Odoms and Christian James. Virginia was in trouble, down 6-14 in the first half against Gardner-Webb. But right now the Cavaliers have restored order. They lead 66-50 with just over 4 minutes to go. Another big final today, UC Irvine, the 13 seed, knocks off the 4 seed Kansas State 70-64 in San Jose. Wake Forest head coach Danny Manning will stay on the job next season. Manning's contract runs until 2025. ESPN's Adam Schefter reports the Steelers will cut veteran safety Morgan Burnett by April 1st.
Discover Card alerts you if they find your Social Security number on any one of thousands of risky websites. It's free for card members. Just sign up online at discover.com/free alerts. Limitations apply.
You watch Action Sports Jax on CBS 47 and Fox 30. Now Action Sports Jax is on your radio.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Here's your host, Brent Martineau.
Hey, having some fun on a Friday. How do you not have fun on a Friday? First of all, here at Intuition Ale House, and nice little crowd gathering as people get out of work for the weekend. Spring break continues in St. Johns County. Everybody's back in school in Duval this week. And it feels like spring is in the air with the temperatures and the weather.
And the allergies
baseball
too, right,
going on, and the allergies too. Mm-hmm. A little baseball going on this weekend. What do you got going on this weekend?
Watching some basketball, a little fight. There's going to be some UFC fights on. I'll probably check
tell
out.
Us about that
I think me and Little Man might go check out, what's the new Marvel movie? Captain Marvel. Okay, Captain Marvel. I think we might go see that movie. And besides that, just a whole lot of hanging out.
Ty and I played a little golf today. I told you. Steph and Kaylee went to a movie this morning, actually.
What movie?
And Run the Race. Remember we had Tebow's brother on Robbie?
Well, what did they think of it?
And they really liked it.
Cool.
Yeah, they really, really liked it. So
Martineau approved. I'm not sure that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Now,
but
we had Robbie Tebow on about a month ago, which means if that's still in theaters, it must be doing pretty well, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how that works, but I've heard that if it does well in the first weekend or 2 weekends, then usually it will have staying power in the theaters. I don't know what the limit is on a movie in the theaters.
Honestly, there's not a limit as long as it's making money, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
for instance, the new Spider-Man movie was in theaters for about a year, it seemed like, and Kuz never saw it, but it's not a big deal. But so I mean, if that movie's doing great, it'll definitely stay in theaters for a while. So good for the Tebows.
Somehow we'll always go back to week 1 of the show.
We'll always have week 1.
Here. It's on Blu-ray. And I still haven't watched it.
That's fine, man.
No, you have not. All right, let's talk some college hoops right now. I want to get the Tom Izzo thing. Tom Izzo, if you didn't see it, erupted at one of his players yesterday during the game. Now, Michigan State was up against it. So Tom Izzo's blood pressure, which is usually high anyway, was really high in that game. And he just went off on his player. And obviously you got cameras and you got people and you're in an arena and it's a March Madness, the NCAA tournament, everybody's watching, and it becomes a big talker. Kuz, let's play the Izzo reaction to his reaction during that win over Bradley.
There's some things Aaron didn't do a very good job of. And yet, you know what? Like happened, I did get after him, and he did respond, and he did make a couple big buckets, and he did make some big free throws. But that's not good enough. This is one and done time, The my bads are out the window. If they're my bads because that team played better or that guy played better, if it's my bad because I decided to jog back instead of sprint back, then it is your bad, and you're going to hear about it.
Well, there it is. Tom Izzo talking about just berating Aaron Henry. He's a freshman who obviously wasn't getting back on defense quickly enough. And the optics of this look terrible, right? I mean, keep in mind in our sports world when it comes to college hoops, very high in our vision of memories is Bobby Knight, right? Bobby Knight throwing a chair, Bobby Knight, Neil Reed. So we have those visions. We also have visions of coaches that we grew up on coaches yelling at people, players, right? And hardcore. And you got to do it this way, kind of like military-like. It's this way or it's no way.
Lombardi style.
I mean, that's now we've morphed into coaching styles that are player-friendly. Pete Carroll tried Gus Bradley. I don't know. Would you call Pete Carroll soft because Pete Carroll wins?
I'm kidding.
But there's and every coach you talk to now, and I hate the stay off my lawn guy that says, "Oh, kids are not like they used to be." I mean, kids have never been. The older generation always thinks kids are never like they used to be, right? But there is this turn, I think, even in coaching that readily admit maybe kids are a little bit more entitled now. Blame the parents. Blame me. Blame folks like me.
Mm-hmm.
But they're more entitled. They are less tough. It's everybody gets a trophy society. I think there is some truth to it. I just think it's a bad blanket statement. So somewhere in between all that is Tom Izzo and him berating a player. By the way, folks, just because you saw this yesterday, Tom Izzo does this every day in practice. Every single day he does it in practice.
Oh, thank you for saying that, Brent. Honestly.
Tom Izzo also, all the guys he's coached, some of the great ones he's coached, but even not the great ones he's coached. Some guy that's doing a financial advisor job in East Lansing, Michigan today, played for Tom Izzo, didn't play a ton, wasn't a star, but he was on that bench for 4 years, and he learned a bunch from Tom Izzo, and he credits Tom Izzo for helping make him the man he is today. Probably mom and dad, and Tom Izzo probably played a role, and maybe his high school coach made a role, and maybe a mentor in his industry played a role. But that's the way it works. I mean, your coaches are so influential on young people, men and women, girls and boys. I think that starts at an extremely, extremely young age. I think I say this about my kids all the time. They will remember their Little League coaches. They will remember their high school coaches. And, some will stick out more than the others, but they are very influential people. So to that point, Aaron Henry is going to look back on this day yesterday, and 15 years down the road, if we ask him about it, he's going to say, man, that made me a better player. That toughened me up. I wouldn't be where I am today without that. I'm guarantee you he will say that.
First of all, I thought we were going to go a different way with this conversation.
Well, we're getting there in a minute.
Okay, well, no, I'm just saying, though.
Because that's the front side of it. But it evolves into something bigger, though, I still think.
Okay, well, we'll get to that, I guess. But I thought for sure you were going to say, like, you disagree with how Tom Izzo handled the situation, and he shouldn't have yelled at the kids. So here's my perspective about it. Number one, Tom Izzo is one of the most successful college basketball coaches of all time. Okay, I mean, he is, I don't want to say he's on the Mount Rushmore, but he's got to be pretty close. If Mount Rushmore had about 6 heads, he might be on there, Brent, when it comes to in terms of best coaches of all time. So
underrated too.
So we as a society are just gonna, with no basketball coaching experience whatsoever, maybe never even coached a little church league basketball team, are just gonna say what Tom Izzo did was horrible. It was disgusting. He shouldn't shoot that kid out. Well, guess what? The kid wasn't responding the way Tom wanted him to do. So what would you expect Tom to do? Just kind of casually pull him aside and say, "Hey, man, you're not doing a good job right now. It's the NCAA tournament. I know it's you win or if you lose, you go home. You win, you keep on advancing. It's one of the biggest moments in your career, but it's okay. Just keep trying your best." No. Like, listen, I understand when it comes to the PC culture and whatnot, like, things have changed, and for the most part, I agree with everything. Whether it comes to racism, sexism, yes, but please think about changing sports, especially collegiate sports, when it comes to in terms of coaches chewing out players, because it's been done since the test of time. I mean, Brent, I could share stories from Murray State University, a D1 AA school with my coach, that would make people just literally call the cops and have people arrested. And I'm not even exaggerating. I'm not going to say those stories, obviously, but that's the truth. So from the fact that Tom Izzo, he didn't grab the kid, and I love how people want to say, well, he was restrained by 4 players. Like Tom Izzo was at a bar. Like Tom Izzo was an intuition right now. He's getting ready to bar fight somebody. Like, it wasn't
my money's on the kid, by the way, in that situation.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it wasn't like Tom Izzo was going to choke the player or anything like that. He was just yelling at him a little bit. So it's not a big deal. Look at it like this. Look at college basketball or college athletics as a job. Okay, and I understand that you want to say they're student athletes, but it's still a job at the end of the day. These kids are putting in long hours and whatnot, and what is their paycheck? It's that scholarship. Well, with most jobs, if you don't do your job correctly, what happens? You get fired. Well, guess what? When it comes to scholarships in college athletics, you don't get fired. You don't lose your scholarship for not doing your job. And by not doing your job, I mean not playing well. If you're not playing well, you're going to get benched. But more than likely, the coach won't take your scholarship away. Now, don't get me wrong. If you do something bad, where if you get arrested, if there's an incident, like in the papers, whatnot. I mean, there are things that you can do to lose your scholarship. But based on a player performance business, you probably won't lose your scholarship. So from that aspect, Tom's trying to get the best out of this kid because he can't just take a scholarship away, right? So he's trying to get his maximum potential. Yes, the kid is young. I think he's a freshman, correct, Brent?
He's a freshman, yeah.
He's a freshman, yeah. So listen, I can see it on the outside looking in saying what Tom did was wrong, and I get it, but guess what? I was an athlete too, and I think most athletes would agree with me in the fact that it wasn't that big a deal.
Okay, but you're about to change roles a little bit because I'm going to fast forward in your life 18 years, and that's your kid now on national TV getting berated by Tom Izzo. What's your reaction? Same thing?
Absolutely. I mean, in my opinion, to whom much is given, much is tested. So the fact that he's chewing him out, that he's given him all he has coaching, to me as a parent, that's a good sign. That means that Tom Izzo believes in my son. If Tom Izzo would have went to that kid and just said, go sit at the end of the bench, you're out of the game, then I would have been concerned. Because that means that the head coach...
That is an old adage. That if I'm not talking to you or yelling at you, I don't really care about you then.
Because that means that the coach that came in...
I kind of got that treatment.
Because that means that the coach that came in, sat at my table, that I had a conversation with, has given up on my son. So if there's a coach, a football coach, whatever coach, chooses a son, I'm all for it because A, I'm sure my son had it coming, and B, it means he's trying to make him better.
What are your thoughts? 904-362-9901, or get involved on the social media. Twitter, we have a video feed, of course. Also on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, we are there. And tweet us. What do you think about Tom Izzo? I have one more element of this where I do think Tom Izzo is in the wrong, but it kind of comes over a big picture. Not this one incident. It's more a big picture look at it. That and the Gators and Knowles still dancing. Coming up next on ESPN 690.
Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Hi, this is Earl Ron, president of New South Window. New South is Florida's factory direct window company. We cut out the middleman and his markups because we manufacture, install, and guarantee your windows for life. Our new manufacturing facility has tomorrow's technology today to make sure your windows are built for Florida's extreme weather. Don't even think about buying windows from anyone else till you see what our factory can do for you. From our factory to your home. Now that's factory direct.
Buy more, save more. Volume discount up to 30%. Visit newsouthwindow.com.
Hey, everybody, this is Brent Martineau of Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. And if you're even thinking about taking a look at a new car, you need to go see my friends at the new Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville. If you haven't seen the new 2019 Hyundai Kona, head over to Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville on Atlantic Boulevard and take it for a test drive. The 2019 Hyundai Kona was named the North American Utility Vehicle of the Year. It has enough room for the family, but it's not too big. It really is the ideal crossover vehicle. If you don't need something as big as a crossover or full-sized SUV, check out the new 2019 Hyundai Elantra sedan. It's a very slick car, and it starts at only $17,985. The manufacturer also offers $2,000 cash back on select 2019 Hyundai Elantras, but the offer is only valid through April 1st. The Hyundai you want, the service you deserve, all with a 7-day money-back guarantee. Schedule a test drive at Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville.com and make sure you tell them Brent Martineau sent you.
The 2019 Harrell & Harrell Performance Studio is here, and it's better than ever. It's your chance to meet the personalities on the new ESPN 690. Sit in the front row and ask your questions to athletes in town, sports analysts, and experts. You'll be able to see them in person. It's going to be the best year yet. So listen to ESPN 690 for your chance to win your way in throughout the year. It's the Harrell & Harrell Performance Studio, brought to you by Harrell & Harrell.
Hey, everybody, this is Brent Martineau. If you've received a letter from the IRS and can't pay them, things can get bad quickly. The IRS can seize your bank account, garnish your wages, and place liens against everything you own. If this is you, contact J. David Tax Law, a local firm right here in Jacksonville. Your first step to stop IRS harassment is a no-cost consultation. They explain exactly your options and how they will resolve your tax issue. Only highly experienced tax attorneys will represent you, and fee payment plans are affordable for everyone. Get the protection you deserve. Peace of mind is only a click or phone call away. The fastest way to get started is to call 904-507-4777. 904-507-4777. Or online at jdavidtaxlaw.com. The number again, 904-507-4777. Or online at jdavidtaxlaw.com.
From the NBA to the NFL, we've got you covered. The worldwide leader in sports. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. This is ESPN 690.
Now, back to Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
All right, we're going to get back to the Tom Izzo talk in just a moment. We are live at Intuition Ale House here in Jacksonville. And business is picking up. Obviously, the rooftop, I see people going upstairs, walking right by. Mm-hmm. We have gifts, pens, bottle openers, lanyards, little footballs. It's starting to disappear. See, we share, unlike Coos. So we got a new backdrop if you're watching on the video. I mean, this stuff is. You got shirt now?
I got it. Well, I have a shirt. I'm not sure where yours is,
Mine's
but
in the car.
I'm sure it is.
Even these guys have shirts, so it's good.
Looking good, guys.
So,
Dr. Pepper ACC.
Well, those
another
guys.
Well, you looked right at him when you said it.
Folks that are helping us out.
Hey, Brent. Well, if a guy gives me a thumbs up, I'm gonna acknowledge him. All right,
that's nice.
And that's exactly what happened.
All right, I'm gonna get back to Tom Izzo in a moment, but first, you have for the casual UFC.
We're doing it right now. Yeah.
Person.
Yes.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
What's the card like this weekend?
Yeah.
And why should they care?
Yeah, so, and me and Kuz actually talked about this a little bit because I think his uncle gives him all, advice all the time on the show, just kind of critiques it and whatnot. So basically we got in the conversation about how I need to remember, not everybody is a hardcore MMA guy like I am. So for this one, I'm just going to kind of bring people up to speed a little bit.
What's Uncle's name?
I don't know.
Kevin.
Kuz. Kevin.
Uncle Kevin.
Uncle Kevin.
So we got Uncle Kevin as a consultant on the show.
Yeah.
I like it. Isn't he down in St. Augustine, St. Augustine Shores area, whatever?
Yep, right down by the beach.
All right. Does he have a beach house or pretty close to the beach? Are we going to visit, do a show from there?
We could probably
have some cocktails.
Oh yeah, we can make it work. They grow their own limes and stuff. He makes his own limoncello. He calls it Kevincello.
Ah, very good.
It's very good.
I get it. I get
Sunday,
it.
Sunday
I'm a
dinners.
slow, but I get it.
Sunday dinners every Sunday.
All right. We might have to do a show at Uncle Kevin's. All right, go
on. Thank God Uncle Kevin's taking over my MMA segment that we had planned here.
Well, listen,
fantastic.
Listen, if you're going to just
let's go.
Listen, we don't listen to Coos. We have to explain why we have to dig into why we would at least listen to Uncle Kevin.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, so be it. I'm just trying to listen to fans, Brent. But anyway, so UFC fights tomorrow, 8 p.m., and ESPN Plus. Check your local listings. They're going to be in Nashville, so it's going to be a little earlier of a start, which is nice for everybody. And listen, the only fight I'm going to break down here is Anthony Pettis versus Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. And the reason I'm breaking this fight down because it's an interesting fight of interesting styles. So to the casual MMA fan, let me start by saying this. When you're talking about a cage fight, an MMA fight, there's a million different styles, right? But there's really two different genres of those styles. There's grappling, which is like wrestling, jiu-jitsu, sambo. And then there's striking, kickboxing, Muay Thai, boxing, so stuff like that. Well, these two guys that are fighting the main event, they're both strikers from days out. I mean, when it comes to ground game, they don't really possess it a lot. Anthony Pettis has submitted some opponents before, especially Anthony Chiesa a couple fights ago, but this is going to be a strike fest for sure. So it's definitely one you want to tune into. Breaking down Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. So if you would have asked me 2 years ago what style, what fighters are going to be the future, the UFC champions, I would have said point fighters. So a point fighter is what you would see if you ever turn on ESPN2 late at night at midnight. You're going to see karate guys that are wearing the headgear, wearing the shin pads, like the old school karate. I mean, you'll see it in the Olympics too, but it's point style karate. Basically what that means is that they maintain distance with their front foot. Okay, so they're super hard to hit. Remember, there's three things in MMA that you can use for defense. You can use your feet, you can use your hands, and you can use your movement. When it comes to point-style karate fighters, they use their feet and they use their movement. Why? Because their hands are always down. Their hands are down because then they can throw strikes from different angles, as opposed to a boxer where if he punches you, he's got to punch you straight ahead. From a point-style karate fighter, if he throws punches, that can come from any kind of angle. So that's why you always see him with their hands down. That's what Stephen Wonderboy Thompson does. So obviously he's got great footwork. Obviously he's got great movement. So definitely a style that's going to be interesting to watch, especially for the fact that he's fought for the belt twice. He fought Tyron Woodley twice. The first time it was a draw. The second time, Tyron Woodley beat him on points, if I'm not mistaken. So definitely a guy with some championship experience. Well, now let's go to Anthony Pettis. Anthony Pettis is a guy who's fought at 145 forever, is actually moving up to 170 for this fight, which is insane, the fact that he's jumping up almost 25 pounds to fight Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Anthony Pettis is famous for a couple reasons. Number one, the dude was on a Wheaties box. The only fighter in the history of MMA to be on a Wheaties box. So he's pretty legit. He has been a champion before. And also his highlight reel knockout came when he knocked down Benson Henderson by literally, not exaggerating, jumped on top of the cage, ran on the side of it, and threw a spinning wheel kick and knocked Benson Henderson down. So in terms of striking, Anthony Pettis is right up there with Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Now, Anthony Pettis isn't a point-style karate guy. Anthony Pettis is an athlete. He's a fluid fighter, which means that he's going to throw a bunch of crazy stuff. He doesn't really have a plan. He just goes with the flow, almost like a ninja, you would call him. So from that perspective, it's going to be an interesting fight for the fact that you have a point-style karate fighter basically facing against a ninja. So there's going to be striking. There could be knockdowns. There could be knockdowns. My prediction, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson's going to take it just because he's so hard to fight. He stays so long with that front kick. But like I said, interesting fight to watch.
Wonderboy. I think I might have got that one right in the game a couple weeks back.
I think you actually got it wrong.
Did I get that one wrong? Yeah. I was trying to. I'm going to always lean on me getting it right.
Yeah.
All right, good stuff. So that's tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night, 8 o'clock in Nashville.
ESPN Plus.
ESPN Plus app.
Yeah. See that?
How was that, Brett? It's not bad, right? I kept it under, well, it wasn't a minute, but it was like
good.
3 minutes.
That was good. I even pushed it out on the social platforms.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
What I don't know is who to – I like ESPN MMA is on Twitter. Like I shared with them.
Yeah.
But I don't know like where the – I got to find the MMA population on Twitter when we share that stuff.
Yeah,
like,
I don't know.
Do you follow someone on MMA? Like I'm talking like the Bellator stuff you could – right, is one thing.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. Like, you follow UFC.
Yeah.
Because, like they're the main thing. But I don't know if there's actually, like, a UFC ESPN thing. You think there would be?
Yeah, there's probably
we'll have to look into it.
All right, back to Tom Izzo.
Yeah.
And we've had our conversation about Tom Izzo, and you're more than welcome to jump in on Tom Izzo. But, so, I didn't have an issue with yesterday. That didn't bother me, yesterday's thing. You said the same thing.
Yeah,
he's one of the best coaches. He's, lessons learned, all those kind of things, impact on players. But this also ties into yesterday's conversation a little bit, in my opinion. The egos in college basketball and college football, these guys believe that sometimes I think they are bigger than they are. And I think they believe, yes, are they trying to improve young men? Are they trying to teach them life lessons? Yeah, but I kind of don't believe that that's what Izzo was doing yesterday. I believe he was pissed off and was trying to prove a point, not necessarily to make them better a month from now, but to make them better and win that game right at that moment. Now, the indirect nature of that is, well, Anthony Henry, I think it's Anthony Henry, he won't probably jog back next game, so it will probably help them down the road. But it feeds back to these guys have such big egos, think they're so big, think they're so powerful, think they are untouchable at times, where it ends up leading to, potentially, I'm not saying this will happen, but this is where you go up against the line and sometimes cross the line. That's when you bring in the Woody Hayes punch. That's when you bring in the Bobby Knight stuff. That's when you bring in stuff that is not allowed anymore. If a guy, when you were playing football or 20 years ago or 25 years, grabbed your face mask and shook it, that was okay.
Yeah.
That's questionable now.
No, it absolutely is.
That's question. I don't care what. I mean, right or wrong, we can debate it all day.
No.
But it's
I think any kind of physical contact isn't right, in my opinion.
And again, I think that's even up for interpretation and debate. If you've played sports, listen, if you have been in that, you're like, I get it. Like, I mean, I'm going to get yelled at from time to time. It's like parenting, man. You're going to get yelled at from time to time. Mm-hmm. It is what it is. But or if you're the kid, hopefully not if you're the parent. But I think what you always have to be aware of, and especially in this tournament, is the casual fan. I mean, you're getting people that don't watch basketball every single day. They don't see this every single day. And to them, it's whoa. And I always say, put your kid in that spot. And that's why I asked you to do that. Put your kid in that spot, and then would you bow up? Because there's a lot of parents that believe, I'm the only one that can talk to my kid that way. There are a lot of people that believe that. Mm-hmm. So, but I think it ties back into, again, I didn't have a problem with yesterday. I think Anthony Henry, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years down the road, will be like, hey, that made me better. I got no problem with it. That happened every day in practice anyway. I should have been hustling back and forth. But I do also believe there's a small part of that stuff that feeds the ego, feeds the power, of that position sometimes. And not just in Tom Izzo's case, but across college basketball, college football, sports sometimes, that gets overdone. And it's too much. And somewhere there's a line in there. And the more this happens, and it's not just a one-off, it comes close to crossing the line. And when you cross the line, well, then we have controversy, then we have scandal, and then we have coaches getting fired. So I think you got to be very careful with it. It's a slippery slope at times.
You keep bringing up this ego thing, and like I understand where you're coming from, Brent, but let's be honest. All the greatest, doesn't matter if you're an athlete, if you're a coach, the greatest minds have egos. Michael Jordan had an ego. Nick Saban's got an ego. Tom Izzo's got an ego for sure. One of my favorite Joe Rogan quotes of all time, he said, is greatness and madness are next-door neighbors, and they borrow each other's sugar. And I feel like you have to have that ego. I feel like you have to have that ego to be successful, because if you don't, you're not going to be the upper echelon. You're just not. I mean, ego goes hand in hand. Now, yes, can that ego get out of control and it lead to madness, and it leads to almost you being not even in this world and just out there.
Well,
yes.
Or madness for a moment. That's what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
And that's a great quote. Greatness and madness cross.
Yeah.
If you have madness that crosses over into greatness too much, or crosses that line, that tug of war, well, then you're in trouble. And now you've just risked your greatness. And that's my point of it.
Fair enough.
It's like that's where I agree with you. Listen, I'm the guy that says if you want to be the greatest at something, you have to be selfish, which means you have to have ego. I say it about Tiger Woods. I've said it about Derek Jeter. You did it. You have to do that. That you cannot be the best CEO in banking America or whatever if you're not egotistical. You can't, because you have to sacrifice something. It might be family time at times. It might be the gym. It might be a diet. You sacrifice something for it because of that ego to get to there. So I agree with you, but you cannot let madness overcome it. Or then we have big-time controversy, scandal, and you're getting fired, and we don't talk about how great you are anymore. Just ask Bobby Knight. Just ask Woody Hayes. More to come on ESPN 690, Gators and Knowles, and I think we play a game to finish up a Friday here on ESPN 690 next.
ESPN 690 Sports Center Update.
I'm Aaron, and I got to ask, how's that bracket looking? Because while a few of you are going to be starting from scratch, the Knowles and Gators, they get to keep dancing.
Haven't got it into Cabingelli much. Now they do. He's got 3 green jerseys around him. Fights through them and jams it through. Wow. Shows a lot of emotion after banging his way through.
For us to make that play, for me to make that play, inspired everyone. It got everybody going, and we executed really well in the second half.
Fiondu Cabingelli on the mic right there. He leads the Knowles with 21 points and 10 boards, including that flush you just heard. FSU winning a tight one against Vermont, 76-69. Florida State's going to face 12-seed Murray State next, tomorrow night at 6 p.m. And the Gators have their dancing shoes still firmly strapped to their feet. UF upsetting 7-seed Nevada, 70-61. Kavarius Hayes, the lead scorer for the Gators, 16 points, shooting 5 of 6 from the floor, doing all those people out in Live Oak proud. Don't miss a second of NCAA March Madness action. You can get the latest updates, including live scoring, at ESPN690.com.
Want a fresh one? Hey, everybody, this is Brent Martineau, and if you're looking for something to eat in Northeast Florida, try Renna's Pizza. Family-owned and operated. New York-style pizza. Everything made fresh, in-house daily. Try the lunch specials or come by and pick up your favorite pizza for dinner. For a limited time, buy any large or extra-large pizza and receive 6 fresh garlic knots for free. Just tell them Brent Martineau sent you. Find out why Renna's has been a family favorite for over 40 years. 5 locations in Northeast Florida. Renna's Pizza. Give them a try today.
As we reach our 67th year of serving the Jacksonville community, we are grateful for all the support we've received since our founding in 1952 at NAS Jacksonville. Today, VyStar still holds true to our military roots and is honored to provide ongoing assistance and financial education, and to sponsor and participate in more than 200 events and charities each year. We thank our military and veterans for the sacrifices they've made for all of us, and our community for putting their trust in us. VyStar Credit Union. We never forget that it's your money. Insured by NCUA.
If trouble finds you, you want a board-certified expert in civil trial to help. Call the law offices of John Phillips at 904-444-4444. John will be by your side as an advocate and as a friend. When things go wrong, you need help to make it right. So give John a call. Personal injury, family, and criminal law. The number is 904-444-4444 or visit floridajustice.com.
It's time for another shout-out to all the North Florida poker fans. This is Allie McDeal from both Best Bet Poker Rooms in Jacksonville and Orange Park. It's time for you to learn how to play poker, and we're here to help. Attend our Poker 101 class for complete poker rookies on the 30th of this month. You'll walk away confident and ready to hit the tables. Our next one-day seminar will take place on March 30th at Best Bet Orange Park from noon to 5 p.m. Bring your game face and learn to play from the best. For more details, visit bestbetjacks.com.
The best kept secret in tires is TireOutlet.com. Tire Outlet offers you wholesale prices with premium service. And most important, TireOutlet.com has always had a safety first focus. With locations throughout the First Coast, check out TireOutlet.com today.
It's time for another shout-out to all the North Florida poker fans. This is Allie McDeal from both Best Bet Poker Rooms in Jacksonville and Orange Park. It's time for the May $30,000 guaranteed tournament in Orange Park with 4 Flights of Fury. Play March 22nd or the 23rd at noon or 7 o'clock p.m. With just a $200 buy-in and a forgiving structure, this is a tournament you won't want to miss. For more information, visit them on the web at bestbetjacks.com. Until next time, this is Allie saying, I hope to see you at the final table.
Now you have a bunch of young guys who found out we were all on the trade block. Now that trade didn't go through, so I agree with Magic, and you got to put on your big boy pants, but we all don't know how everybody's going to deal with it.
Golic and Wingo, weekdays from 6 to 10 a.m. on ESPN 690.
You watch Action Sports Jax on CBS 47 and Fox 30. Now Action Sports Jax is on your radio.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios.
Here's your host, Brent Martineau.
All right, Virginia, you survived. Buffalo's up big over Arizona State right now in the NCAA tournament. Tennessee survives. A little bit of a scare. Oregon up over Wisconsin, 25-23. That one's early, obviously. Texas Tech a winner. UC Irvine, the big upset of the day by 6 over Kansas State. Iowa beats Cincinnati, so a double-digit seed advances. Oklahoma over Ole Miss. And later tonight, Washington, Utah State, North Dakota State, Duke. So we get to see Zion Williamson. That's coming up at 7 o'clock on CBS 47. And Georgia State, Houston will be an interesting game, I think, as well. Liberty, Mississippi State. That should be a heck of a game. Yep. Liberty's really good. Iona, North Carolina, UCF, VCU, Ohio State, Iowa State, and St. Louis, Virginia Tech. I got to be honest with you. I'm not sure how many of those games, I'm like, oh, my gosh, dude, I can't
VCU
wait to
and
see.
UCF's going to be a fun one. I mean,
yeah, the 8-9
games
are good.
The 7-6 guy or whatever, so I'm excited to actually see him play for once. And VCU with that defense, always a tough team to beat.
I like, you mentioned Ron Hunter a lot, Georgia State, right? So they're back in the tournament. But Houston is a team that is a top 10 team. Like, if you look at some of their metrics, they're a top 5 team. So I'm interested to see that team, how far they go. And I bought into them. I picked them to my Final Four. So let's hope they're not an upset.
Yeah, you're all in.
At least the good thing is if they get up, if there's an upset there, I don't have to talk about it tomorrow. I'll have to wait until a lot more will happen over the weekend. I just have to cross it off my bracket, of course. Hey, I want to ask you a question about Julio Jones in a little bit, but it looks like he's headed for a big payday. Chris Sale with the Red Sox, he is headed for a big payday. 5-year extension with the Boston Red Sox, which is a really good thing for the Red Sox because I think Chris Sale is dynamite. And they must feel that he's healthy as well. That's a big part of it. But let's talk a little more college hoops in Florida State, Florida. We haven't talked a ton about the Gators and Knowles. Good win for the Gators, of course. Big win for the Gators over Nevada. Their defense can be stifling at times. I always think you have to say, hey, that guy's a good coach if he can get kids to play defense at a very good level for a long part of the game. Mike White's been able to do that. It's been a necessity because of their scoring droughts at times. If you can throw in some scoring, if Jalen Hudson and Kevon Allen can score a little bit, you know what? I didn't think I'd ever say this, but they could go on a run in this tournament if they can get consistent scoring. The problem is, we know this, they have not had consistent scoring in over 30 games this year. It's not coming anytime soon. I mean, it would be shocking to see consistent games out of Kevon Allen and Jalen Hudson. So that means a different guy has to step up every game. Kavarius Hayes was the guy that did it yesterday, 5 for 5 in the first half. I think he had 13 points in the first half. I mean, that's good production out of him. That's big production out of him. And that kind of helped build a lead that they would not relinquish. Let's hear from Mike White, the head coach of the Florida Gators, as they get set for tomorrow's matchup against Michigan. Here we go again, Florida and Michigan. It seems like they play in every sport in a big game.
What a game, my goodness. We did enough in the end. The Wolfpack were terrific. They continued to fight. They made great adjustments. They sped the game up. I thought we did a great job of controlling tempo, which is the biggest key to the game. Thought it might put us, if we played well enough, in a position to have some success, both offensively and defensively. It was a big win for us, led by these two seniors, had poise and toughness. A few possessions there late where it could have got away from us. I mean, we could have lost all poise. We lost a little bit of poise at times, but did enough, made some huge plays down the stretch to obviously survive in advance.
There's Mike White, and they did survive in advance, and now they got a good Michigan team. John Beilein and that Michigan program have been fantastic over the last few years especially, and they will be a tough out for the Florida Gators. But, hey, it's this time of year. People will be like, oh, they don't have a chance. Heck yeah, they have a chance. I think Wofford's going to beat Kentucky tomorrow here in Jacksonville. So you have a chance, and I think the Gators do have a chance. It's just as simple as find me the scoring. If you can get them to 70 points, they got a legit chance to win that game against Michigan.
And Beilein actually was in the press conference, I believe it was yesterday, was on the record saying how the fact that Florida reminds him a lot of Maryland, and the fact that they're a gritty defensive team. You don't really know where the scoring is going to come from. If you look at Maryland this past year in the Big Ten, they actually beat Michigan twice. So that's pretty high praise going from the Michigan head coach obviously playing Florida. So a lot of people obviously are going with Michigan. But it could be closer than we all think. I honestly think it's going to be a blowout for Michigan. I think their front court, back court, their bench is even better. So I think from those aspects, I think Michigan's got it. But, hey, like we've been talking about this whole show, Florida's grimy, man. They make games dirty, and so does Michigan for the most part. But we'll have to wait and see.
I'm excited to see where Florida goes. I don't think they're much of a contender in this tournament and going deep. They really don't. They just are too inconsistent on offense. But with these young players, Locke and Nebhard, and they've got a couple of McDonald All-Americans coming in. I mean, they have a chance now. It might not even be next year. It could be next year, but it might not even be next year. But like that next year after that, so we're looking at, 2020, 2021?
Yeah.
I mean, I know that's down the road, and fans don't like to talk about that. I get it. But this, you might look back at this. This is where they laid the foundation a little bit. A couple of those big wins in the SEC tournament, that big stretch down the tail end of the season where they got the win over LSU. And, yeah, they lost to Georgia. But that's what this team can do. This team can lose to anybody because of their inability to score at times. But I with this young influx of talent, I wonder where it kind of rises to the top. And it could be as soon as late next year, but it might take until 2021. We'll just find out. But I think they're headed to something pretty good at the University of Florida with Mike White. Well, they've already got something good in Tallahassee at Florida State. I mean, what a job Leonard Hamilton has done. Yeah, you heard me right. What a job he has done. The man doesn't get enough credit. We, and I say we in the media and fans, have tried to fire this guy for a long time and say, gosh, why are you still the coach? Well, you're not saying it now, are you, Noles fans? I mean, he has been spectacular in the talent that he brings in. Everybody will talk about what a nice man he is, what he does with those young men. He graduates those young men. And somebody brings up an excellent point. I saw it a couple weeks back. Can you name me the last Florida State player that got in trouble? Can you find me that guy that got in trouble? And
on the basketball team?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly, though, on the basketball team. And I can't, really. I mean, I don't know. We don't live and breathe FSU basketball daily, but I think the point is dead on the money about Leonard Hamilton, and now he got him to an Elite Eight last year, so he builds up some equity. He might have a better team this year coming back. Phil Colfer, his dad passed away on Thursday. He found out in the locker room after that game. He's already banged up. He's with the team still, likely will not play in the game, according to Leonard Hamilton, on Saturday, and they have to face Murray State and Ja Morant. Here's Leonard Hamilton talking about the sensational player out of Murray State.
That I've had a chance to watch play. He's kind of a throwback to guys who have the ability to score points, but also has the passion and the excitement about creating opportunities for his teammates. Guys like Nate Archibald, who can lead the NBA in scoring and also lead them in assists at the same time. A guy like Magic Johnson, who got so much joy for making the game easy for his teammates. Even a player like Muggsy Bogues, a guy who not only is capable of going out and scoring points, but he has that uncanny way of making the game easy my opinion is that you have to be careful because he's not winning the games by himself. He surrounds himself with good players who feed off of who he is and what he is by as a player. And you still, at the end of the day, it's going to be Florida State against Murray State. So we pretty much going to be who we are. And I think the team that's going to be successful is going to be the team that comes as close as they can to playing up to their potential. We have a defensive scheme. They have an offensive scheme. They have offensive schemes. They have defensive schemes. I'm sure they're planning to try to minimize ours and play to their strengths, and we plan to do the same thing. I think the team that's going to be successful, the team that comes close to being who they are to the best of their abilities.
That's Leonard Hamilton, Florida State head coach. They will play tomorrow evening against Murray State. And by the way, Murray State will have a lot of people in their corner. You know, the Racers are the underdog. The Racers have Ja Morant. Heck, I love the fact that we get to see Ja Morant again. I think a lot of people do. And so from that standpoint, don't have a complex about this, Florida State. But a lot of people will be rooting for Murray State. That's what happens in this tournament. But I really root for Florida State at times, too, because I think Leonard Hamilton's done a nice job. They have a lot of talent. They can make a run if they can stay healthy. They fix some of the nicks and bruises, and they find a way to stop Morant. Can they do it?
And here's the thing. Florida State does make me nervous, too, because they do play hard. I've seen a couple of their games. They are well coached, and they crash the boards better than any other school I've watched play this year, and that makes me nervous against the Murray State team, who's a little undersized, who does rely a lot on Ja Morant. So from that perspective, I am nervous, but obviously I'm going Racer Nation all day.
I wonder what they do from a game plan standpoint. See, that's what I told you earlier in the show. I said I picked Marquette because I thought they would have a plan for Morant. Well, if they had one, they didn't execute it.
Yeah.
But the one thing Florida State has a lot of is size on the interior. They can alter shots. And if you alter shots, that makes it difficult for a guy who likes to get to the rack. And so I'm interested to see, will he have to make some decisions around the rim to hand off, and can guys finish around the rim with some of the size of FSU?
What I see Florida State doing actually is slowing the game down a little bit because Murray State benefits from transition points, from fast breaks. I see Florida State slowing the game down, getting into their bigs, making it actually a slower kind of game, which is going to benefit them as opposed to Murray State.
Yeah, Florida State can beat you in a lot of different ways. That's going to be a fun game. I think it's one of the highlights of the day on Saturday. Florida State against Murray State, partially because everybody loves to watch Ja Morant, but I tell you, FSU's loaded with talent as well. All right, question about Julio Jones. Can you win big with Julio Jones? That's my question. You answer it coming up next. One more segment to go, and I think we got a game in our back pocket next on ESPN 690.
Oye, amigo, it is the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
Did James Harrison ever tell Ben Roethlisberger to put down the beers and get in a little better shape?
Ben's in good shape.
He is?
Ben looks good.
If you say he looks good, he looks good. That's right. We think he runs like a skyscraper, but if you say he looks good, that's fine by us. We'll let it go.
That's a good thing he ain't paid to run. He paid to throw.
The Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugatz on ESPN Radio and ESPN News.
The 4th annual Touch a Truck event is coming to Jacksonville March 30th at the Regency Square Mall parking lot. We are offering First Coast families the chance and opportunity to climb all over trucks and vehicles that are normally off limits. Guests are asked to bring non-perishable items to be donated to Feeding Northeast Florida. You can find more information, visit ESPN690.com or find us on social media. Just search ESPN 690.
Hey, everybody, this is Brent Martin of Action Sports Jackson. Many of you know by now I'm a huge advocate for Hyundai vehicles. We actually drive a Hyundai in our family, and if you're in the market for a new vehicle, take it from me. There's no better place to buy a new or pre-owned vehicle than Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville. The car buying experience should be smooth and seamless, and that's the experience you'll get from my friends at Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville. Take a look at their specials and incentives at JenkinsHyundaiofJacksonville.com. All you have to do is click the Specials tab, and you can find specials and incentives for new Hyundai vehicles. One thing you don't have to worry about at Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville is being haggled by a salesperson. Their sales staff are pros, and they're on your team from getting you into the car you want with the best possible financing plan. Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville is second to none. Schedule a test drive at JenkinsHyundaiofJacksonville.com or at the showroom on Atlantic Boulevard. And tell them Brent Martineau from Action Sports Jacks sent you.
Why do local women watch Action News Jacks? Because the unexpected can mess up their day. They like to know about the rain, the recalls, and school changes because their families are depending on them. They need more than just crime stories. They want to be in the know with real investigations that truly impact them, not something they can just Google. Is that selfish? We don't think so. Their time is valuable. In fact, more women are now watching Action News Jax than any other station.
From Daytona Beach to Brunswick, now ESPN can be heard loud and clear everywhere on one of the most powerful AM radio stations in Florida. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. This is ESPN 690. This is Action Sports Jax with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
Hey, welcome back to Intuition Ale House here in Jacksonville. Having fun on a Friday as we get you set for the weekend. Hopefully you had a good week at work. If you did, if you're heading home, stop by Intuition Ale House and have a pop with us.
Thank God.
Over in 15 minutes.
Thank God Kuz put some of those clips in that you wanted him to put in for the sound bites and whatnot.
Yeah, he's still learning.
We
got him in once.
Oh, did he? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we got him in earlier.
Oh,
remember when we were making fun of him earlier?
Oh, yeah, that, but I thought you told him again to put some more in the
I didn't tell him. I mean, it's at his discussion.
Yeah, it's kind of whatever he feels
like.
He's come up with some really big loose balls, and he just did it again.
Considering the fact that he just yawned as he was coming back.
Not a good look.
I was like, geez, I wonder what he's been doing all day.
Not a good look. Stand up, shake it out, man. Let's go.
I mean, come on.
Wake it up.
Go do a sprint down the hallway. The building's big enough.
I got to, man. You know what happens? I'm sitting in a dark closet, essentially, when you guys aren't here.
You had a good workout in today, Kuz.
I did, actually, yeah.
Yeah, you were up early, I think, on the I saw some retweets.
Yeah.
On the ESPN 690 account, I was like, I bet he's on his way to get a workout in or coming back. I don't know which one. But
yeah, I got up 6 o'clock today, I believe.
Whoa.
Upper body or lower body today?
Upper body.
There we go.
Brent Martineau, Austin Lane, Kuz back there, sleeping his way into a weekend.
Really,
we are having some fun at Intuition Ale, and thanks for hanging with us. NCAA Tournament Week in Jacksonville. Of course, make sure to check it out tomorrow if you got tickets. Hopefully you do. If not, be a little buzz downtown anyway during the early afternoon. And sure, there's a lot happening in Jacksonville. There certainly has been in the month of March up to this point. All right, your thoughts. Julio Jones, $20 million a year for the next 4 or 5 years. I mean, you have to pay the guy, right? He's a tremendous athlete. He's a tremendous receiver. He's one of the top in the game. You got to pay the guy.
For all he's done for your team and then for all it took to actually get him on your team in the first place in the draft, yeah, I'd say you have to pay him.
And to that point, that's one of the few times, it does work from time to time, but usually people trade up to get quarterbacks. Very few people trade up what they traded up to get in Julio Jones.
Mm-hmm.
And the Atlanta Falcons did it. And you were like, what in the world did they just give up? I don't have it in front of me, but go look up the trade. It's like a couple of first rounds and second rounds. It's ridiculous. But you know what? It feels like it's hard to say it's been worth it because they haven't won a Super Bowl. And they came so close.
They've been there.
But they've been there. They've been in the playoffs. They've been good. They've been relevant. He's good. He is more than relevant. So I don't know. I mean, 10 years later or however many years later, was that a good trade?
So back in 2011, the Atlanta Falcons traded with the Cleveland Browns. The Falcons gave up their 27th, 59th, 124th pick from that year's draft.
So that's a first, second, third round, basically.
In 2011,
first, second, fourth round, I think that is.
In 2011, they gave up their first and fourth round pick. Wait, I'm sorry. Yeah, the following year, then they gave up their first and fourth round pick as well.
Yeah,
so two first rounders,
fourth, and then a first and a fourth.
Correct. Yep.
That's a lot. That's a haul now that Cleveland got. And they got, but Cleveland obviously has done nothing in 8 years with that haul.
Yeah.
And Atlanta's been very good. So you'd almost have to think it was worth it for Atlanta. Now I think worth it also pays dividends by a Super Bowl, and that hasn't happened yet. And I think this signing actually prevents them from winning a Super Bowl down the road. They now have Matt Ryan tied up with a ton of money, and now they have Julio Jones tied up with a lot of money. And receivers, we know it. Go look it up. The last 10 Super Bowl champs, receivers do not win Super Bowls. They don't take you. They might take you deep into the playoffs or to the playoffs, but they don't win the big game. It hasn't happened in the last decade.
So here, I don't think I've ever really shared my philosophy before when it comes to paying free agency, of who to pay and who not to pay. But if I was a GM, and so, okay, let's talk about Julio quick. So if Julio gets, $20 million a year, that's going to be, 4 years for?
It's 4 or 5 years.
So
for 80 to 100 million.
80 to 100 million, okay. So if I'm a GM and I'm going to pay somebody, I'm going to look at history. What is and granted, sometimes look at history in the NFL, it doesn't work out. For instance, drafting a tight end top 10, probably not smart. Well, guess what? The game's changed. But from this fact I'm about to say, the game has stayed the same for a long time. Anytime that you spend a lot of money, I'm talking, almost $100 million on a free agent that's not a quarterback, history has shown that it's never worked out. One of the first guys that comes to my mind right now is Mario Williams. When Mario Williams left the Houston Texans, went on to the Buffalo Bills, I think it was $96 million. Might have been a little more. I'm not sure I'm getting $96 million from. But it was kind of a groundbreaking deal from the fact that he wasn't a quarterback. He was a defensive player. He was a defensive lineman, an edge rusher, whatnot. How did that pay off for the Buffalo Bills? How did that work out for them?
Not very good.
Okay, so now let's go into Ndamukong Suh, going from the Detroit Lions to the Miami Dolphins. I think that was like another almost $100 million deal, if not a little more. Yeah. How'd that work out for the Miami Dolphins? Not good. So from the perspective of paying free agents money, I feel like if it's not going to be a quarterback, it's just not worth it. Not saying Julio doesn't deserve the money.
I was going to say, but don't you have to do it? Like, this is what organizations get shoved into the corner. It's the Jags got shoved into a corner a little bit by Blake Bortles last year. It's like, you're really going to let him go after he just went to an AFC championship and he's playing some of his best football? Okay, you guys that said, yes, they should have, you're right. But it's a hard decision to make that when they just did that. Like, Julio Jones, I think the smart play would be to trade him. Would be to go get 2 or 3 players potentially that could turn your franchise and flip it for the next 3, 4, 5 years beyond. Mm-hmm. But how do you do that when you've got one of the elite guys in the league and he's productive and he's good and he's a good dude, it seems like. He carries himself well. He's a good team player. You have to reward that, don't you?
You are pot committed to him, unfortunately, because listen, I know it's a business, but there's also some set of loyalty involved. And we're talking Julio Jones. I mean, you got to be a little loyal to dude because, once again, look what you gave up to get him in the draft. So you got to stick by his side because that's business, man.
Yeah, it is. I'll tell you, I agree with you in this sense. I don't think Atlanta's winning the Super Bowl with Julio Jones.
Just from the fact that all the money's going towards Matt
Ryan.
Well,
I just think it'll be hard to distribute. I mean, he might help you get there.
Yeah.
I just think I'd rather have 2 or 3 players for that. It's like I say about Harper and Machado and all these guys.
Yep.
I would rather have 2 or 3 guys at the rate of J.D. Martinez, who just helped you win a World Series in Boston, than I would maybe have one guy for $200, $300, $400 million. And, well, that's going to really be put to the test in Boston soon because Mookie Betts will come up. And do you keep Mookie Betts? And it's a hard decision to make.
Can we go ahead and play a game quick so the guy at the YMCA doesn't yell at me again?
Oh, yeah. All right. So the game is simple, okay?
What do you got?
Kuz, you guys got to guess this. We don't have a lot of time, so this will be really easy. All right. I'm going to give you the tournament team. You got to tell me what state they're in.
Oh, okay.
Or from.
Okay.
Oh, all right. Just give me the loss already.
Colgate.
Where's the big toothpaste manufacturer located?
That's what I was thinking, too.
Colgate would be, Brent, of course. Colgate is in Massachusetts.
Kuz?
I feel like it's a northeastern state as well. I'll say, man.
Not taking the ACTs here, just guessing.
Nope, I'll say New Jersey.
Close. It was New York. Gardner-Webb.
Gardner-Webb would be it's right by Charleston, South Carolina.
Kuz?
I'm gonna go right above you, North Carolina.
North Carolina it is. Yeah. I think we might have said that the other day.
I wasn't paying attention.
Hey, if I tell you where Utah State is, I hope you get it. Where's Liberty?
Liberty's got to be in so it'd be Washington D.C. area. So that state would be Virginia.
Very good. You got it, Virginia.
Yeah.
How about Iona?
Iona.
You own what?
Iona.
Yeah, very good.
Oh no, I get it. I'm trying to focus here. Iona. I'm taking like Pennsylvania.
I feel like Idaho or something.
Yeah, no. Iona, Idaho.
New York.
Iona, Idaho.
Fairleigh Dickinson.
Oh, that's Jersey.
Very good. Very good.
I talked about him today. So.
And lastly, Bradley.
Ohio?
Coos?
Oh, man, I don't know.
I'm thinking Dayton, but yeah, I'm going to go Ohio. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll go Ohio with you.
Oh, my gosh. Peoria, Illinois. Coos went Ohio just because he couldn't name another
state.
He's
born in
pushing
Illinois.
buttons and he couldn't think about another state. There's 50 states, Coos. There's 50 states. You guys showed a lot of East Coast bias there, by the way. All right. Thanks to Intuition Ale House for having us here on the day. Hope you have a great weekend, everybody. Hope your brackets aren't busted by the end of the weekend. I plan to be beating Coos, Stewart, Marcel, and Austin Monday.
And I plan to get probably an Uber out of here because I might get a little wild. We'll see. Just kidding. I'll be home by 7:30.
Have a happy and safe weekend, everybody. We'll see you on TV this weekend.
ESPN 690 Sports Center Update.
I'm Aaron, and I got to ask, how's that bracket looking? Because while a few of you are going to be starting from scratch, the Noles and Gators, they get to keep dancing.
Haven't got it into Cabendale much. Now they do. He's got 3 green jerseys around him. Fights through them and jams it through. Wow. Shows a lot of emotion after banging his way through.
For us to make that play, for me to make that play, inspired everyone. It got everybody going, and we executed really well in the second half.
Fiondu Kabengele on the mic right there. He leads the Noles with 21 points and 10 boards, including that flush you just heard. FSU winning a tight one against Vermont, 76-69. Florida State's going to face 12-seed Murray State next, tomorrow night at 6 p.m. And the Gators have their dancing shoes still firmly strapped to their feet. UF upsetting 7-seed Nevada, 70-61. Kavarius Hayes, the lead scorer for the Gators, 16 points, shooting 5 of 6 from the floor, doing all those people out in Live Oak proud. Don't miss a second of NCAA March Madness action. You can get the latest updates, including live scoring, at ESPN690.com.
Hey, everybody, this is Brent Martin.